Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we will be discussing chapter 12 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the Mirror of Erised.
It's Christmas!
Okay.
Oh my God.
So make sure that you've read the chapter and you're ready to dive into the details. But before we begin, we're going to go to Megan for the weekly prophet. Megan!
Hello. So, I pulled an article from CBS which had a transcript of J.K. Rowling's interview that she did all about the cursed child, which I know is everyone's favorite here.
Love it.
And so it's with Mark Phillips, J.K. Rowling, John Thorne, and somebody else. I don't know. John Tiffany or something.
Somebody have my name.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go through the interview and pull a couple important or cool facts out of it that J.K. may have said.
And after she ripped my heart out.
Yeah. So first thing is first is this, the whole premise of this interview is for them to talk about how Cursed Child is coming to New York and it's going to be on Broadway. So they want to delve a little bit deeper into Cursed Child because it's not so much a secret now like it was whenever it was debuting in London. So they asked, why she ended up wanting to do this, like what most appealed to her in terms of bringing Harry Potter to stage. And she actually said that Michael Jackson had reached out to her way back in the day and wanted her to go to Neverland and talk about a musical Harry Potter. And she didn't want to do it. She's like, no, I genuinely didn't want Harry to go on stage. I didn't want a musical. I felt that I was done. And Mark Phillips said with Harry, and she said, I think I felt if ever I feel really inspired, absolutely, I'll go back into that world. I'd always said never say never because I knew that Warner Brothers wanted to do something with Fantastic Beasts, and I did have kind of a yen to do that. But I was in no hurry. And the truth is that it wasn't until Sonia Friedman, who's the theatrical producer of Cursed Child, came to her to talk about the possibility of doing something on stage that she started to think, okay, what you're proposing is something that I could be creatively excited about. And then they decided to move forward with it.
Was she excited creatively about the story?
I don't know. She says it's canon.
I know she says it's canon, but
She can't get excited creatively about a Marauders series.
Hold on. Can I just say that the whole Cursed Child is going to be a whole other 1,000,000 episodes.
Oh, I know.
There's a
Yeah, we
lot
know.
to say.
So I know. And this episode is already going to be really long because there's a lot. So I don't want to delve too deep into it. But they said, aside from Michael Jackson, specifically the idea of bringing it to stage, this is something we all know that famously emerged fully formed out of your mind, and that became the books, right? And J.K. Rowling said, no, people have run with that. Basically, the premise of the story, a boy not knowing he was a wizard going to a wizarding school, that came into her mind in its wholeness. And then in time, she did end up writing that last chapter much earlier than the finish of the series. But besides that, she did kind of write it as it happened, where I think that a lot of people have talked about how she had this entire story immediately, and that's not the case at all. And I think that's a common misconception with J.K. and Harry Potter in general.
I would totally agree because she even has said there are some things where she goes, I almost did this when she was in a bad mood. She almost killed off Ron.
She almost killed off Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She felt pressured to put Hermione and Ron together. That's a whole other conversation. I hate that she said that.
I agree.
Who pressured
completely
her?
with
Her
you,
editor?
Megan.
She said something about how she thinks Harry or Hermione and Ron would be divorced, and I'm like, no.
I disagree.
I also disagree.
Yeah.
And I'm not even their biggest fans, and I disagree.
Yeah.
She's like, I think that I always wanted it to be Harry, but I was pressured into Ron and Hermione.
I never got that ever. If she felt that she was pressured,
it never came
it
through.
never came across that way unless she was pressured from way before she even started reading the books. Because I got from jump that Harry and Ginny had a thing.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
I'm sorry. I'm still way hung up on Michael Jackson.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, because I had to look up. I'm like, when did he pass away? 2009.
A long time ago.
So this was a long time. I hope she met with him. How are you going to turn? Come on.
I don't know. She seems like somebody who, like, if she didn't want to do that, she wouldn't even put herself in the situation to possibly be pressured into it. So I don't know if she would have.
But it's Bella. Sorry. I would have said, yeah, we can hang.
She also ends up talking. Let me see if I can find it. So she says that the first scene of the play, as I think most people should know, is the last chapter of Deathly Hallows, where you're on the platform. And she said that she had always been most intrigued by Albus.
Yep.
And she said James is the older brother, and he kind of had an easy time at Hogwarts. Like, he's just breezing through it. Whereas Albus, it's kind of suggested that he isn't going to have as easy of a time. Even from the last chapter when we read it, you know.
Well, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, James is picking on him, and he's nervous. He doesn't want to be in Slytherin, and...
I'll also point out that he is the middle child, and as someone who is not a middle child, I've heard from middle children that, well, I'm the middle child. I'm often forgotten. I don't know if that's 100% a thing.
Well, in Albus's case as
I'm not a
well,
middle
like
child either, so.
he's got. I'm an only child, so I have no clue. But in Albus's case, he has James, who seems to be very much like his grandfather and father. And then there's Albus, and then of course Lily, the only girl, so she's going to get special treatment because she's the only girl of the family.
All I'm thinking of right now, Percy.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! I was thinking the exact same thing.
So she said that Albus is the character, as Joe was saying, that she was most interested in because he's called Albus Severus. He's named after Albus Dumbledore and Severus Snape, obviously, two of the kind of most loved characters in the book. And then Jack
Not on
Thorne
this podcast.
interrupts and says, and the most complicated. And J.K.
Yes.
Rowling interjects and said, and the most hated as well.
That's true.
So just based off of his name alone, like, you can tell that this kid's going to have issues.
Yeah,
you know?
conflicted.
Yeah.
Should have gone with Dobby Hedwig.
Dobby Creature.
Oh, I love that.
DK.
So that's the
Doggy
first scene,
Dog.
and then we don't see Albus again in Cursed Child until like 4 years later. We jump ahead 4 years in that book,
Yeah.
and you see him at the start of fourth year, and that's really where the story starts.
It's been.
Well-
I haven't read it since it came out. I read it.
I
haven't
I read
either.
it once, so clearly I didn't like retain a bunch except for, the
Well,
atrocity at the end. But
unpopular thing. I think I'm the only one at this table that didn't actually finish reading it
You are.
because
that's per usual though.
yes,
with you.
as people know, I spoil things for myself. So I read what happened. I didn't buy the book right. Well, I
thought you
didn't buy
read
the
it
play
online.
right away. Correct. I
Somebody did not keep the secrets.
Well, and they warned me, and I read everything online, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it because like I need to read the play. I need to see what it's about. And I was like reading this. I'm like, nah, I can't. So I had to like put it down. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I think another part with Albus is like his dad holds so much hatred for Slytherin, so like that also added to the.
It's got to be in his
conflict.
head, like,
Oh yeah.
what if I get chosen? Like, I know Dad hates Slytherins.
I don't know.
And Ron, even in the I just finished my reread of Deathly Hallows. So like, thinking now that I've read Cursed Child, thinking of how they're acting on the platform, I'm like, oh my God, like Ron even puts it in his head too as his uncle, like, oh, you better not be in Slytherin, we'll kick you out of the family. And of course he's just joking, but like Albus is really nervous about it, so that sticks in his head.
Another part with me when I read it, and it to this day has stuck with me, and it's so upsetting, is when he like gives whatever to James, I forget what it is, and he gave Lily something, and he gives something to Albus, and Albus like it's Harry does, like he's trying to like, because their relationship is strained, and they kind of get in like a fight because he's like, why are you giving this to me, and blah 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 blah, and he just goes, well, I wish you weren't my dad, and Harry just goes, and I wish you weren't my son. That part, when I read that, I was like,
That doesn't feel like Harry.
I can't
Yeah,
handle that.
it
I don't
doesn't
know
feel
how
right.
I would feel if my own parents said that. And really, there's nothing that he's done wrong to warrant like a parent saying like, I wish you weren't my kid. Like he didn't do
He's
some
friends
crazy.
with Scorpius.
Yeah, like the worst things in the world have happened than what's happening in this kid's life.
I mean, Harry
like,
should know.
like he's grappling with the fact that like his father is so famous and so is his mom. Like and his whole family, like he's trying
And
to
so
live up
is
to all
his
this
aunt
stuff.
and uncle, right?
Yes.
And also
That part I was like, I need to close the book. Like right after that, I was like, I don't know
that
if
part
I
was
can
very
read this.
sad because
It-
that
I
did
was-
not
it's-
seem like that's something that Harry would have said or done. But also Ron says to Rose, at least, like, you better not become friends with Scorpius. That's another thing that he points out. So then immediately, like, okay, there's another thing that Albus is like, you know, he meets Scorpius on the train, right? And then it's like, oh, I want to be friends with you, but my uncle's going to, like, disown me.
Shout out to Scorpius, though, because he's super cute.
Yeah. He's a really
like
sweet
he's
kid.
great.
Does not.
And I think
remind
that
me of Malfoy at all.
Scorpius is the product of what we all deep down believed Draco could be.
Yes.
Yes.
And
100%.
yeah, and that's the beauty, I think. I'm going to shout out to Cursed Child. This is the beauty of Cursed Child, where there are some parts of this book that are beautiful. And I wish that we could learn more about certain parts, but there are other parts of it that are like the whole thing with Harry, where I'm like, no, that did not just happen. That's awful. But then the whole thing with like Albus and Scorpius is awesome.
I do think we should probably move on because, again,
know.
we'll be talking about this for hours.
Yeah, I
I
was
know.
like,
There's one other thing
is this
that
our
I-
Felix file about Christian?
There is one
Surprise.
other thing I wanted to talk about in the interview, which God, I think it's
eat her
towards
off.
the end.
It's warm.
It's sweaty, deep and sweaty.
Yeah.
You know it's
man.
warm in here because I'm comfortable.
Right. When Katie gets comfortable, it's time to
my
turn the heat
blankie?
down.
No, I'm fine.
We had to
but-
get new detergent because it only takes liquids.
This is a Harry Potter podcast, not about laundry. You got what you want?
I got what you want.
I can't find it. So basically, what J.K. Rowling ends up saying. Okay, so she says, Jack Thorne asks, just to say in relation to your previous question, hold on, I don't know what the previous question is, but whatever. I'm a fan of the books, a ridiculous fan of the books, and I would consider myself a Potterhead. And in terms of the question that you're not answering about what the fans would like, J.K. Rowling then interjects and says, shh, don't say it, don't say. And Jack Thorne says, you know, that's the part of me that goes, oh, please. And she says, oh, please, no. Why?
I don't know. Why can't she get excited about, which I speculation, I think she's talking about a Marauders book.
You
I
know
agree.
what? Let's write it.
But like,
I'm down.
I'm down.
So
Here's
she
the thing.
says, this is the age of social media. You think I don't get told in no uncertain terms that I've done the thing that they didn't want to happen to a character, or why on earth am I taking it into theater? No, believe you, in the age of social media, no one is ever deluded about the fact that some people aren't happy. Expect not to be happy. That's the way it goes. But then Mark Phillip asks, do you care what the public says? And she says, do I care? Do you know? I'm going to be very honest. Yes, I do. And no, I don't. So yes, I do. Of course I do. For me, I always go back to the readers. So the fact that people love the books and the movies as well, and that those stories meant so much to so many people, that is everything to me. No writer is going to tell you differently. I have phenomenal love and respect for those people. Forget the material side. They gave me a sense of belonging, actually, and purpose that I'm not sure I had before, because it turned out I could tell a story. That's all I'd ever wanted to do in my life, and they, in their enthusiasm, gave me that. So yes, I care hugely. On the no, I don't side, I think as a writer or any kind of creative person, you actually do have to hold tight to your vision. And ultimately, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, did I do that for the right reasons? Did I do it to the best of my ability? And am I happy with the result? Mark Phillips then says, because you were afraid you could be pandering? She says, well, I know I'm never going to pander. I know genuinely. I know full well I have limited time left on this earth. I have no interest whatsoever in doing certain things that I know would be very popular with the fandom. And I think the fandom watching this will know exactly what I mean, because they know what they keep asking me for.
Yes.
But there's nothing there for me creatively, even though I know they'd all buy it.
So here's kind of my thought on
He
that.
tries to get her to answer, and she just says, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah. So she
Because
knows
my Twitter feed will be a place of hell for 3 months. Sorry. I just think
her Twitter feed's already that way. Jesus. I think we all agree. You know, we know what she's alluding to is the
we
story
think.
about the Marauders.
That's my best
I
allegedly.
can't imagine it's the encyclopedia. I think that
No.
really is going to be a thing, but just very far in the future.
So here's also so as a fan, obviously, I want as much as I can get.
Anything I can get.
But then you also have to think on her side of the things. Here's what she's saying.
It has to be quality.
It's exactly the word I was going to use. It has to be quality. And this is not coming from me because I am not a fan. If you are Supernatural, okay? They have 1 million seasons, right?
yeah.
the fans said, this is what we want, this is what we want, this is what we want. They listened to the fans, and you will hear a lot of people say, it's crap.
Yeah.
It should have stopped or
Well, like,
something like that.
Yeah, this is why Seinfeld stopped.
And they're never coming back. Probably same with Friends, you know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
And I will say this.
So I get what she's saying.
Going with your point,
I'm still sad.
bringing when you bring things back and you're like, we're going to do all these things for the fans. And I've said this to you and you totally agreed with me with Gilmore Girls. With their,
It was
and if you like their
awful.
seasons, that's fine. I just felt like they were basically pandering.
Yeah.
Where everything felt so forced. And if
Rory
that's what it's
didn't
going
know how to be Rory.
Yeah, like it just wasn't. To me,
This is a Harry Potter podcast.
to me, it wasn't good.
But truthfully,
that's
what we're saying.
Like, that's almost for me. That's kind of how I feel about Cursed Child a little bit. And you know, I get it. She's probably like her whole life. She never expected it to turn into this. Where for me, my entire life is almost Harry Potter, and for her, it's even more so because it's her story. Like it completely became it, and it became this huge, massive thing. And now she's got millions upon trillions of people tweeting her every day.
I can't even imagine like how that felt when it took flight.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
'cause
especially
it was-
where
it
she
was
came
her
from.
baby.
And now
had
she wants
nothing.
to move on. She's doing other things, and she's a fantastic writer. And I really, truly,
But like, let's be real. Nobody likes the Robert Galbraith stories.
well, I never read The Casual Vacancy. I couldn't get into it. But that Striker,
my mom
that
just- I
Strike
enjoyed
stuff
it.
or whatever it's called, is
I
I
enjoyed
don't
the
know. My mom
Casual
doesn't like
Vacancy.
the Strike series.
it's not my
Cup of tea?
yeah, like I mean I have not tried to read it, so I can't for sure say because sometimes I like will delve into books that aren't normally my thing and enjoy them a lot. So
I'm
I
a
just get really
27-year-old that just wants young adult books.
I get really, really into my
Ain't nothing wrong
stories,
with
so
that.
I like to have lighter stories because when I read really heavy stories, sometimes I get like ridiculous.
Seeps into
like
your
Harry
life.
Potter.
No, like when I read Gone Girl, I almost threw my iPad across
That's like
the
way
room.
too much for me.
It was a good book.
Did you read that?
Oh, no.
I will say this: the book was
That's not
very
my
good,
speed.
and it was one of the
Lovely
closest
Bones.
adaptations to the movie, like book to movie, I've ever seen.
Yes, it was great.
But going on, go back to Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling, we wish you would write more stories, but you know what, girl, we can't tell you what to do.
Even if she just did short stories like that one with James and Sirius.
Yes.
Guys, let's write the Marauders series. I'm serious.
Okay, Katie.
Well, actually, I'd be reading.
I'm
Are you
giving
serious?
Katie, I'm giving you this challenge.
I would be serious.
I want you monthly to write a Marauders
Yes,
short
yes,
story
yes,
for us,
yes.
and we're going to read it on the podcast.
Can I?
so down with
wait.
Wait, whoa. Second Breakfast already called her.
Hold on. And also,
Okay, I guess it'll be through Second Breakfast.
It needs to not be like, it needs to be what you think actually leads up to like
Yes,
Lily
Sarah.
I don't
and
need-
James
listen,
getting
I know.
together, getting married, and
Katie,
having their child.
All I have to say is if I hear the word collarbones, I'm out.
God.
I will avoid the collarbones. It'll be PG-13. Yes.
Should we shout out
they
to
don't
them?
have
Yeah,
to be PG.
The ones on air will be PG.
If you want to listen to interpretive fan fiction, go and find Second Breakfast, Podbean, iTunes, all that. They do interpretive fan fiction. So
and
Great.
it's fun.
there you go, guys.
It's pretty funny.
All right, chapter recap.
Though they just call us Smuggles.
Ooh. That's because we are. Let's just call ourselves what we are.
Okay,
We
I'm a-
are amazing.
I'm a smuggle.
I'm a Smuggle.
and I'm proud.
All right.
I'm a smidge.
It's perfect.
Okay, let's do chapter 11 recap, guys.
What happened?
All right.
What
So
happened
this
last
is a Harry
episode?
Potter podcast. So last episode, we found out that Snape had paid Fluffy a visit on Halloween night, and he nearly got his leg torn off.
He deserves it.
He does. Harry had his first Quidditch game, but his broom got jinxed. And Hermione sets Snape on fire to stop him cursing Harry's broom. And Hagrid lets it slip that whatever Fluffy's hiding has something to do with Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel, and he's furious with himself.
Furious.
In the first line of when he gets furious with himself for slipping.
Oh, yeah, it's a long one.
Don't tell Hagrid stuff, guys. All I can think of
If
is
you
Family
didn't,
Guy.
yeah.
Look at that stuff in the yard.
I wish I had that thing that sounds like the little jingle bells.
All right. Well,
In the
if you
background.
couldn't guess from our lovely musical sounds, Christmas is coming to Hogwarts.
Yay.
The grounds are covered in snow and the lake is frozen.
Herald angels sing. Okay, sorry.
No.
All right. The students are all freezing in their classes, especially Snape's in the dungeons. Malfoy's Snape's classroom. Malfoy is being a jerk and talking about how he feels bad for those staying at Hogwarts for Christmas because they aren't wanted at home, which is probably true for Harry, but Harry couldn't care less.
That's true.
Harry was thinking this will be the best Christmas he's ever had. Ron, Fred, George, and Percy were all staying for Christmas as well. Walking away from potions, Draco and Ron get into a fight, and Snape takes points away from only Ron because he's a jerk. Ron and Harry go with Hagrid to look at the Great Hall to see the decorations for Christmas. They have one more day left before the school lets out for Christmas, like their holidays. And they go with Hermione to look up anything they can find on Nicholas Flamel in the library. With pretty much everyone gone from the dorms, Ron and Harry spent a lot of time playing Wizard's Chest and eating food in the common room. They wake up on Christmas morning to presents at the end of their beds. Harry's surprised to see that many, and even more surprised that he gets an invisibility cloak that he doesn't know who is from, but it's his father's. He knows that much. That evening, they have their Christmas feast, and that night, after Ron is asleep, Harry takes his father's cloak and goes to the library to see if he can find anything in the restricted section on Nicholas Flamel. While there, he opens a book that lets out a loud shriek, and he hears footsteps, so he flees. He passes Filch in the doorway and ends in what looks like an unused classroom. Looking around, or looking closer, he sees a mirror, and when he looks into it, he sees a whole crowd of what he assumes is his family behind him. Specifically, a redheaded woman and a man with dark hair standing next to each other, his parents. Harry tells Ron the next day about the mirror, and they go that night where Ron sees himself holding the house cup and he's Quidditch captain. The next day, Harry's talking about going back to their room, but Harry tells himself not to go.
There had to be something, right?
So
in this
that day,
summary.
Ron is telling him not to go. Harry goes the next night and sits down in front of the mirror to see his parents again, and he doesn't even realize that Dumbledore is in the room. Dumbledore tells Harry that he's looking at the Mirror of Erised, and it shows you your deepest desire of their hearts. Shows one, their deepest desires. And that mirror is going to be moved and not to look for it. And the chapter ends.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we open in December. There's like feet of snow everywhere, and the lake is frozen over. And the twins, we are told, are punished for bewitching some snowballs to bounce off Quirrell's head, right in the back, AKA Voldemort's face.
Baldy.
When did you guys catch this?
Not until someone pointed it out to me like this past year.
This
I
past
think
year?
I read it like on one of those
Okay.
Tumblr posts or something that
Okay.
pops up, and I was like,
It's one of
"Oh
those
my
things like,
god!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Because
true.
I definitely did not put that together myself.
Yeah,
Meg?
No, it was like same with Katie. She like showed me a Tumblr post, and I'm like, oh my god,
It-
Fred and George are amazing.
It was like a jaw-dropping moment. I'm like, that is absolutely genius.
like JK is writing that, and she's just like, "This will click with somebody someday."
oh, it was so good. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. Hey. Okay. We also find out that Hagrid has to nurse some owls back to health because of like the storm. So I assume like snow and stuff like that. So in a previous episode, we were talking about the Hut on the Rock episode when he tosses the owl into the storm to take the letter to Dumbledore. And we're like, oh yeah, owls got to have some kind of magical protection over them. This makes me think no.
We didn't say they got to. We were assuming that because he just threw the thing up. But maybe he
Well,
was like,
my headcanon said yes.
So basically, Hagrid was just a jerk to the owl.
Yes.
well,
right.
but maybe
What do you have to say
he
about this?
knew, I love Hagrid. Let's not talk mean about him. A. B. Maybe he was like, I know this little owl is going to get to Dumbledore, and then I'm going to be there, and I'll be nursing that little creature back to health because I love him. Little owl kiss.
There's a lot of hand motions going on right now. that
Sarah
you
was
can't
like
see.
rocking a baby, but it was an owl.
A little baby
an
owl.
invisible owl.
An invisible owl.
Maybe invisible to you.
Well, I don't know. Either way, he is nursing some owls back to health because of all of the snowstorms and such. And then we encounter Mr. Malfoy, and he's making fun of people who have to stay at Hogwarts over the holidays. And Harry thinks completely opposite after Malfoy like calls him out on this. He's like, no, this is probably going to be my best Christmas yet.
Can we all be 1,000% honest? I think I'd rather be at Hogwarts than my own family Christmas. And I love my family. Well, at least my immediate.
It would be a really hard decision because
No.
I don't know. There's like just something about being together for Christmas, but like I would want them to come to me.
Yeah.
If I knew that my best friend was going to be able to spend Christmas with me, oh yeah, I'd be staying at Hogwarts.
Oh, well,
Bye,
yeah.
fam. Just send me your presents.
You don't want to
Oh,
dress
send
up with
all this.
us?
I like to be in my pajamas, so no, I'll be in my pajamas all day at Hogwarts,
Fun fact about the
eating sausage.
oh god, what is that?
Don't worry, I'm gonna kill it.
There's a large bug crawling on the wall.
That is a centipede.
Oh man,
No.
those get me when I work out. All right, hold on, everyone. Sarah's
Sarah,
gonna
kill
kill it. Get it? They're fast. Did you?
Not as fast as me.
Yeah, it's on a white wall
I
too.
think that you cracked the paint on the wall.
Don't be listening, mom and dad.
My parents don't listen, so it's okay.
Anyways, fun fact about the O'Malley family: we get matching pajamas every year for Christmas, and we wear them together. Anyways, moving on.
We'll send them our picture. They can Photoshop us in from Hogwarts.
Exactly.
Or we'll Photoshop them into Hogwarts.
There you go.
That would be way cooler.
That's better.
Yeah.
So Harry,
I want to point out how sad it is that like this is going to be Harry's best Christmas. I'm sorry. That's just sad.
I don't think he's at Hogwarts.
no, I think that's good.
I know, but it's
I mean,
like
I
he's
understand.
11 and this is the first time he's excited about Christmas. Like that's so sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying.
I understand. Too.
So Ron and the twins are also going to stay for the holidays because their parents are going to Romania to visit Ed Sheeran.
Don't forget about Percy. He's there too, because I almost forgot. I was like, oh, he
Oh
is
yeah.
there too.
Oh wait, it didn't say that. Did it say that? Chapter? I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's there, but all right, Percy's staying too. Ed Sheeran, but we don't know Charlie. Okay.
I have to show you something funny. Go on.
Okay. So, Malfoy continues to make fun of Harry, and he goes to like making fun of him for the Quidditch match, and he calls him a quote wide-mouthed tree frog when he caught it because he almost swallowed it. But like, this really didn't catch on for like people laughing at him because everybody was just so impressed with what Harry had done, so he like had to stop making fun of him about the Quidditch match and go back to like making fun of him because he didn't have a proper family, I think is the way that she put it. But I just love that. A wide-mouthed tree frog.
I hate 11-year-old Malfoy.
Yeah, he's not very kind. And then I wanted to point out that Ron asks Hagrid if he needs any help with the Christmas trees. So I just thought that when we talked earlier about Fred and George offering to help Harry on the platform, you know, even though they didn't know who he was, we did a shout out to Molly and Arthur, and I just think like Ron,
such great people.
Ron is just so kind. So, and then so while Hagrid's bringing in the Christmas trees, Malfoy comes around the corner and he starts making fun of the Weasley family for not having any money, and Ron, rightfully so, goes after him. And so Snape just happens to come around the corner at that time, and he takes points from Gryffindor, even though Hagrid tells Snape that Malfoy was insulting his family, and he just doesn't really care. So I said Snape is a jerk.
We use that word a lot with him.
Yeah.
But it's so true.
Yeah. And then we get a view of the Great Hall decorated, and I had to look up what this word meant. Does anybody else know what that meant?
No.
No.
What word?
Oh, festoons.
I feel like hold on, let me look at it. I feel like I've heard
Well,
it
I put it in
before.
the doc if you want to look. It's
I'm just scrolling up.
okay.
But she also put the
Yeah.
description of it right
Yeah.
after.
No, like I feel like I've seen that word before. It sounds familiar. I
Yeah.
would assume that's something festive.
Well, yeah. So it's a chain or a garland of flowers, leaves, or ribbons hung in a curve as a decoration. So basically a wreath. So there are festoons of holly and mistletoe all over the walls, 12 towering Christmas trees, some with icicles, which I really liked, and then some with candles. And I said that was probably like a beautiful scene.
Also, there's it says hundreds of candles, which I think is
Yeah.
really cool. And then also Flitwick is making golden bubbles blossom out of his wand and trailing them over the branches of the new tree that Hagrid just brought in.
Ayo, gold. So I think those are
That's
kind of like
also a really cool
bulbs,
vision.
like on the tree. Like, I just love it.
Since we're talking about like Christmas decorations and Harry Potter, I also wanted to say that I do a Harry Potter Christmas tree at my house, and I will post pictures of it for you guys whenever it goes up. But
You know she doesn't like Harry Potter enough.
But I made like a Christmas tree topper last year. I made a golden snitch topper. So like the top is this massive golden snitch, and then I have all of my Harry ornaments, and then I put in like does and stags
Yeah.
and owls and
That's
blah,
cute.
blah, blah. It's really cute.
We are also going, if you're a patron, look out for some Christmassy type vlogs.
Yeah.
Oh, I got really confused. I'm like, where are you going with this? Us doing, we're talking about crafts. Sarah's not, well, Sarah thinks she's crafty, but she's also very accident prone. So you'll see Sarah try to craft and hurt herself, which will be great footage.
It'll be good. It'll be good stuff. So that's kind of where we leave off. And let's talk about the Hogwarts library.
Yeah. So
Wait, there's a library?
You're an idiot.
I didn't know they could read.
So after running into Hagrid and discussing the decor for the holiday, they also let slip to him that they've been in the library researching Nicholas Flamel for 2 weeks.
When reading it, I feel like they purposely are like, yeah, we're learning
Oh.
about Nicholas Flamel. Not
Oh, I'm
letting, like,
sure. Yeah,
Hagrid, you spilled the beans, and we're just gonna scoop them all up and use them.
This is Hagrid is like really shocked and tells them it's nothing to you what that dog is guarding. If only Hagrid really knew Harry, Ron, and Hermione at this point. Like, of course it has to do with them. They get in everything.
Yeah.
So Harry tells him that they've been through hundreds of books with no luck and that Hagrid should save them a lot of time. He could save them a lot of time if you just tell them who Nicholas Flamel was. Harry also mentions that he remembers hearing Nicholas Flamel's name somewhere but cannot remember where. Hagrid says that he's not telling them anything, though.
Yeah.
Does he write it on the back of the chocolate frog card?
Why do
We're
you
getting
spoil the
there.
chapter, dude?
Sarah, we're gonna get there later.
I just can't remember anything because I don't read.
So they had looked in great wizards of the 20th century, notable magical names of our time,
Oh.
important modern magical discoveries,
Oh.
and a study of recent developments in wizardry.
Point out the fact that she's underlined all these little key words in the doc.
Emphasizing these things. Interesting.
So I know that Nicholas Flamel is old, but I know that the things that he's done and discovered happened a long time ago, but I'm still shocked that his name isn't mentioned in any of the books at all.
Yeah.
Because he's still alive.
Yeah.
Alive
Is
and
he?
well because of
Oh.
his discovery. It seems odd to me that he isn't mentioned in any of these books. And we also hear how large the library is, which is like mind-blowing. So the fact that they haven't found anything, I mean, I guess they're just completely looking in the wrong section, which is why they don't find anything. But it says that there are tens of thousands of books, thousands of shelves, and hundreds of narrow rows. Can you imagine having that at your disposal?
No.
That'll be amazing.
I don't even know what to start with. Give me Google.
Can I just ask one question? Let's all contemplate this. How many of those tens of thousands of books do you think Hermione has read?
Oh my God.
I mean, a lot, but
I bet you it's, well, I wasn't going to say
I bet you it's a very large number.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I bet you
Shockingly.
she would love to just sit there and be like, give me all the books.
Yeah. I mean, and she goes back, how many is she reading in her 7th year redo?
Oh, gosh.
Is
Yeah.
this the first mention of the restricted section or no?
I think it is.
I think so.
Possible.
I was wondering what that noise was.
Me
It was your
too.
mouth.
It was me.
And I wonder what 7th years would even need to read out of that section. Like what? And
So they're the only ones that are allowed
But
in
it-
there.
I
Plus
bet you
professors.
There's probably books on more like we see complicated spells and like things that they're going to learn.
potions.
Correct. So like things they're going to learn that a first year, maybe one won't even know how to do. And if they try to attempt it, it could be catastrophic
Dangerous,
for them.
yeah.
That's true.
Unless you're Hermione Granger.
It said that 7th years you were taking advanced defense
See.
went in there
Yeah, I could see
because
that.
that's all dark stuff. So
Yeah, because you're going to need to know counter curses and all that.
Harry Potter lexicon has a really good article on the library too. Most of the description I kind of just read basically with like the thousands and whatever. But it also says here, which I thought was interesting, that the library books have various spells on them to prevent students from defacing or stealing them. Chocolate and presumably other food is forbidden in the library, and Madame Pince is the kind of librarian who sees herself as the guardian and protector of the books, not just a librarian. And she adds, she's always at odds with the students who try to use the books, which I think is so backwards. Like, okay, so that was one thing that I said. I was like, I don't understand.
Well, you're forgetting one thing about her, though.
She loves Filch.
Yes. No, that's what I was going to say.
So, like, what I don't understand is that Madame Pince shows up and shoos Harry out of the library, which is just so odd to me. Like, why is she pushing a student out of the library? She's hindering people's education, and this really annoys me.
But I feel like that's a lot of that's how a lot of librarians are portrayed in like movies and
But
stuff.
I know a lot of really nice librarians.
I
Shout out to my cousin Jenny.
Tiffany.
So I get where she's coming from, because when I get a new book and I bring it into my classroom, I'm like paranoid. I'm like, we treat books nicely. Like, we wash our hands. Like, I get,
hold on.
But you're also teaching first graders.
Wait, I will also say
You
this.
know?
My sister, I know that I have some OCD tendencies about life. If my sister has a paperback book and she has been like this her entire life, shout out to Boo Boo Bridget. Well, Bridgie Boo Boo. She will literally be like, no. Well, first of all, she doesn't share very well, but she'll be like, no, you can't read it. I'd have to like, if
Not break the
anything,
spine.
you don't break the spine. So I'd have to read a paperback book like this, and then like the cover would be bent a little bit because of the way I was holding it. She'd get mad. I'm like, how am I supposed to read the book? Like,
I feel her
She
on that
literally,
one.
she wouldn't want anything where I'm like the type of person when I see a paperback book, as you can see, my Harry Potter one is literally falling apart.
it's-
Like to me,
yeah.
that's how I love it. Like I've read this book a million times. That like the pages are turned. Like there's
I love my OG copy of Sorcerer's
Like-
Stone. It's so loved.
yes, where Bridget's
She
like
would
I
kick you
want
out
it
of
to
the
be
library.
exactly like it was when I first got it. Like no pages
Yeah.
are turned. Like I don't use bookmarks a lot of times. I just bend whatever
Oh, I
page
see.
I
Dog
get.
ear.
I can't bend the pages.
Oh, I
but
don't. Again, this is literally falling apart.
Yeah,
But that's
that-
what I
yeah.
do. Like
I don't know. It just annoys me how like I understand that there are some people that deface books and that kind of stuff, but like
don't
Harry was literally just standing there trying to figure out where to look, and she was like, "What are you doing in here? Get out!" And I'm like, "What is wrong with her?"
yeah, she's,
maybe her and Filch had a fight that
we
day.
don't know her history. Maybe she's going through something right now, Megan.
Yeah, break
Maybe.
up with Filch.
So because of that, Harry had to wait out in the corridor for Ron and Hermione to come out. And when they come out with nothing, Ron suggests that Hermione asks her parents if they've ever heard of him, which I think is a very odd thing to ask. But he thinks it would be safe since they're muggles. And then Hermione also tells us that her parents are dentists. Side note, if they're dentists, I cannot believe that Hermione wouldn't have gotten braces already, or they wouldn't have tried to fix her teeth.
Are her teeth just big, though?
Yeah, she just has to grow into them.
But you can...
I don't think they're jacked up.
Yeah.
But dentists, you can fix that.
You could fix
Yes.
these. These are like rabbits.
My mom had it done. Her two front teeth were
You
like...
mean like shave them?
File down.
That's painful. I've had them try to do that to my teeth. Thank God they stopped because I was like,
I actually kind of like
I
these.
don't.
Someone
like
once told me, a child, that I looked like a bunny, and I was like, oh, all right.
it. Can I say one thing though about Nicholas Flamel and Hermione? No, she might like her parents might know because he is also like famous in the Muggle world. Not famous, but like
He's
if you're
known.
into correct.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you're into that
Hermione
kind of stuff.
solves her teeth problem later. So.
Yeah, she grows into them.
No,
Doesn't she?
actually
She shrinks them.
Oh my God,
With magic.
Hermione,
All right.
fix your hair. Just kidding. I love
Next
girls.
topic.
I think
Yes.
that's the next book, right? Is that Chamber?
Did she fix her teeth? No, it's for the ball.
Yeah, it's Goblet of Fire.
But doesn't
No.
Malfoy do something to her teeth
A
too?
spell hits
She
her and her
had-
teeth grow and grow
She had
and
Madame
grow.
Humphrey like go
Yeah.
smaller and smaller.
Yeah, she was like,
Didn't
tell me to stop when it gets to where they should be.
What are
and
we
she's
thinking
like,
of,
I let
her
her go
hair?
a little more.
Her hair.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Clearly.
I'm thinking of her
Who's
hair.
Hermione?
Guys,
I
do you
don't
even
know.
like Harry Potter?
I just gonna say
Wait, who's Harry Potter?
it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
What are we
some kid.
talking about?
On
And
a
we still have another
Friday.
episode to record after this. So
Let's
Katie,
get going. Let's move to Christmas Day.
what
Yes.
happens This is what happens whenever half of Swish and Flick goes on vacation in the middle of the month.
Yes.
No, this is
Record
because
a
of
million
me.
episodes at once.
It's all our fault.
Katie,
Yeah.
can you please read the other half of that title so everybody knows my genius thoughts?
Nifty
God.
gifties.
Christmas Day and nifty
Nifty
gifties.
Wouldn't you think you'd spell it differently? Wouldn't it be TIES?
I
like
didn't
the
want
Y.
to.
I like the Y.
But nifty and
Yeah.
gifty with a Y match.
Yeah. So
anyway.
Okay, go on.
So the holidays start. Thank you.
We need a new Slytherin. Now hiring.
No, I like this one. She's cute.
We need a new Hufflepuff too.
Hey. So Ron and Harry are having a blast, and they sort of forget all about Nicholas Flamel because they have basically all of Gryffindor Tower to themselves.
I don't blame them.
I know. They get the good armchairs by the fire. They're sitting there by the hour, roasting whatever they can over the fire and plotting ways of getting Malfoy expelled. Because why wouldn't you do that? And Ron starts to teach Harry wizard's chess. And I think it's cool to point out that Ron has his grandfather's old set, and he knows them so well that they basically do whatever he wants them to do. But Harry's set, borrowed from Seamus, they don't trust him at all.
Can I just say that I love that? Like, I love that, like, Harry's pieces, like, don't really trust him, so they won't necessarily listen to him. Like, that's just...
I think it's so cool that you have to literally build a relationship with your chess set in order
I think
to
that's
play.
great. I
They
think
like
that's really
they
great.
like shout at him and stuff. Like, don't put me there. Why would you do that?
I also, like, do they mend themselves or how does that work?
It's fascinating to me, because I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
I don't get
probably.
it.
like, you would
Reparo.
never need a new set, though.
Yeah.
If you got hand-me-downs.
Well, Ron's is noted to be like pretty battle worn. So I think eventually maybe they
Yeah.
would stop working. But
I
I mean,
think,
this
like,
is
the
his
magic-
grandfather's set.
Would he have a little funeral for
Like
each
the
little
magic
piece?
would like wear off.
All right,
Would he have
Peepon.
little? Would he have little
After so
tiny
many
shot
repairs.
glasses to pour one out for each little piece?
Pour one out for the king.
Pour two out for the queen.
Anyway. So on Christmas Eve, Harry is actually looking forward to the next morning because he's finally looking forward to a Christmas. But he doesn't even expect any presents. But he does get presents. And as Ron says, what did you expect? Turnips?
I love that.
What if he
Ron,
was?
what?
Can you imagine what Christmas morning was like at the Dursleys for Harry?
Oh.
He was
A lot
probably
of
annoyed that he had to
sitting there.
spend so much time with Dudley
Well,
around. Because
think
what is he
of-
doing when it's snowy outside?
Think of Dudley's birthday.
Right.
Then think of the presents on Christmas.
Right.
And Harry gets like what?
A 50
50
pence piece.
Yeah.
Possibly
A
a
paperclip.
hand-me-down sweater from Dudley.
some old socks.
Right.
So the presents Harry does get. So Hagrid sends him a homemade wooden flute, which I think is adorable that
I
he
love
took
it.
the time to make him something. And
Yeah.
it comes super in handy later.
Shout out to Hagrid.
Yes, Meg?
I was just going to say that is the same flute he uses later in the book.
I think it says
Spoiler
that
alert.
it sounds like an owl when he blows into
Yeah,
it.
I like that part.
And the Dursleys send him a 50 pence piece, which Ron thinks is weird. What a shape. That's what he says. And I was wondering, are the Dursleys required to give him a present? Is that part of the protection? Because it's always something crappy, but they always do it. And if you think about the Dursleys, they probably wouldn't give him something.
Do you think someone like Dumbledore or McGonagall wrote them a letter and said, "Hey, send this kid something"?
Maybe it's
I
like
don't
going
know.
back to that howler that Petunia gets. Or like,
Right,
send him
Remember my last.
something. Mhm.
Send him some gifts. But
Like
even when
maybe-
he opens that, he says, "Well, that's friendly."
Yeah.
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 He's probably shocked. What
Well,
the
he
hell did
is,
get
yeah.
out?
Probably shocked that it's not like a bobby pin or something.
Or
actually
like, don't
like
ever
money.
come back, like a note.
A Q-tip.
I looked
Used.
I looked up on Pottermore, and there's a whole list of all the presents that Harry gets throughout all the books. And I
Okay.
really liked what they said about this. They said, you've got to admire the amount of effort the Dursleys will go to actually not make an effort. A gift that says, we paid more for postage and packing than this actual gift.
Ooh, but
That's
how did they
hilarious.
send, how do Muggles send things to Hogwarts?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So they actually talk about that in Deathly Hallows, I think, because Petunia writes to Dumbledore about wanting to like come to Hogwarts, and
Oh, that's right. Back in the day.
Snape
I'm
says
sorry.
something. Snape says something along the lines of how he thinks that there are wizards statused at the post offices. So in case kids or something do send letters to Hogwarts, it's not just like lost in the mail, and they take them and actually deliver them
Okay, I could understand that. I could see that.
for like Muggle kids who don't have access to the.
Can I just say that reminds me of Men in Black when there's that alien in the thing shooting out the mail.
You're so weird.
But okay.
So
I get
maybe
it.
they just send it and they just
Could
like
be.
write to Harry Potter at Hogwarts and like throw it in the mail. Hope that he gets it.
I like that.
So then Mrs. Weasley sends him an emerald green sweater
To match his eyes.
and a large box of homemade fudge. And Pottermore said Harry became an honorary member of the Weasleys.
I bet you he looked really good in the green.
I
Brings out his
Probably.
eyes.
have 2 questions about the sweaters.
What?
Well,
Where can I
about
get one?
sweaters?
Wait, the sweaters.
So many
Weasley sweaters.
questions about sweaters.
Yeah.
I do have other things coming up about the sweaters, but go ahead.
Oh,
I was just going to ask, or this is more of a statement, that I like in the movie that Harry has an H on his sweater because he doesn't get one in the book. You don't like that?
No, you're ruining all my future plans.
Okay, don't
no,
ask.
Go ahead.
No,
I'm not.
no.
I'm not. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
wait for
Go
it.
ahead.
Save it.
Go ahead.
And I was just going to say that I wonder how Molly decides who gets what color.
Oh, that was not one of my points.
Wait.
Okay.
Speaking of
You're
that,
lucky.
I have another question. Do they get every year? Do they get the same color that
Yeah.
they have always
Yeah.
had?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Ron
Ron's
has
like,
always
oh, I
gotten
got
maroon."
maroon
Okay.
again.
I wonder what color she'd give me. I look really good in blue, Molly. I'll send you my address.
I like green.
I also like
I'd want yellow.
blue, like dark blue.
Do you remember
I also
when?
like blue.
Do you remember when my mom made us
Yes.
Weasley sweaters for the midnight showing?
They were pretty great.
My mom, she loves knitting, but honestly, like some of her projects, she's not necessarily well versed in making sweaters, but she tried. So she
But that made
kinda
it so
like-
perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect because it was like, very Weasley-ish. But I remember like by the end of the movie, they were like unraveling. And I'm like, this is so perfect. At least it made it through the movie. That's all that mattered.
That's great.
She even stitched the letters on the front of it. It was so cute.
That's awesome.
I wish I still had it, but it like came undone.
Still waiting on my blanket.
Wizarding World, can you guys make like sweaters that like have? I want my initial. Don't look at me and say they do. I know they do, but I want my initial on it.
Okay.
They should.
Dear whole of Wizarding World.
That would be a lot of stock they have to keep.
Yeah, but like maybe you
could
could just
order
custom
it.
order it. Yeah. I would.
All right.
I want a sweater with my initial on it.
Anyway. So he gets chocolate frogs from Hermione, which that will help in a future episode. And he gets the invisibility cloak. I know.
What?
And I love how it's described. It says it was strange to the touch, like water woven into material.
That is
I
such
just-
a cool description.
Yeah, I get such like, I can't describe it, but I
Like
get this
silky,
feeling.
yeah.
Do you think that because we know that there are other invisibility cloaks that don't last as long because this is like the legitimate one,
Right.
I wonder how they feel compared to that one. Like
Yeah.
you know when you
Oh,
get
yeah.
like pleather something versus
Yeah.
leather, like how you can tell there's a difference.
Interesting
I
thought.
wonder
Yeah, because
what.
most other ones are made out of demiguy's hair.
Or it's like
Interesting.
something with a disillusionment, a really powerful
Like a charm,
disillusionment
yeah.
Cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Good
Would
thought.
it feel like whatever was disillusioned?
Also, I'd like. Oh well, you might point this
Maybe.
out that.
I want to
Do you like these hand motions?
I like these.
I like that Ron immediately knows what it is. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
he's pulling it out. He's like, oh, that's an invisibility.
And there
cloak.
it goes back again that Ron is his best teacher about the Wizarding World.
Yep.
He truly is.
Shout out to Ron.
Yep.
And there's a note left in the invisibility cloak. It does not say who it's from. It says, "Your father left this in my possession before he died. It is time it was returned to you. Use it well." And this is the first thing that Harry receives that had belonged to his father. And I don't think he
And
had
it's
any
also
idea how important it would
A
be.
hollow.
Can I just ask an unpopular question? Who gave him the cloak?
What?
I'm not even kidding. Was
You're
it
not-
Dumbledore?
What?
Yes.
I'm just making sure. For all those fans out there that are like, I don't remember. Neither do I.
AKA
kids.
no one, just Sarah.
I'm
Tiffany's
just making
face right now.
sure.
I'm glaring across the table.
Who's Harry Potter again?
Why? I have a question. Why would Ron give anything for one of these? I find that an odd statement.
Who wouldn't want
Maybe
one?
he wants to be.
Think about it, he wants to disappear. He
Yeah.
is like low on the totem pole.
Honestly, though, like he,
I feel
like
it.
when we taught, well, not we, but like when you asked Chris Rankin, is that who played?
Yes.
Correct.
How he was like and we saw the whole different side of Percy, but we always kind of felt like, well, I've always kind of felt like Ron was like the last one. So like, not that they didn't care about him because they do, but like how
I feel
he
like
was
he
saying like
is
Percy was like
the most
well,
looked
he was
over.
trying to do all these things and like he had to live up to his brothers, but Ron really did. So he probably they all probably felt like they needed to be every single Weasley probably felt like they needed to be the certain type of person. And so Ron probably felt like, well, I'm the last boy. Like, they forget about me and they look to my sister because she's the only girl. And so that's probably why he wanted an invisibility cloak. He could be truly invisible.
I think it's important to point out that Harry mentions in the book that he feels strange. Like, who had sent this cloak to him and had it once really belonged to his father, like actually inheriting an heirloom, which he knows
the
nothing
only
about.
heirloom that he ever gets from his family, I believe, right?
Like,
It's
that's
emotional
gotta
if
be,
you think
money.
about it.
yeah,
mine
it's
is
got to be a really weird feeling.
Very emotional.
Fred and George come bursting into the room, and Harry hides the cloak really quick because I don't think he's ready to share it with anyone just yet. And they have letters on their sweaters, unlike Harry and Ron. That is a movieism.
Ron does have a letter on his sweater.
I don't think
In the
he
movie.
does.
In the book, I thought he does.
I don't know about
I don't think he does.
Is it only Fred and George because they're twins?
It's
there's a reason for it.
Wait, Percy has one too because they
Yeah,
make
he
fun of him
does.
because they're like, oh, is that P for prefect?
prefect.
yeah, but I don't think Ron does. We'll
I'll
look
look
that
into
up.
it.
I think he does.
Whoever wins has to buy the other a butterbeer. Okay,
Butterbeer?
a real butterbeer. But I don't remember which one says it, but one of the twins says, I suppose she thinks you don't forget your name, but we're not stupid. We know we're called Gred and Forge.
Best line yet.
Yes. And that brings us to Christmas dinner and the rest of Christmas.
This is what it says. Ron says, I hate maroon. Ron moaned half-heartedly as he pulled it over his head. You haven't got a letter on yours, George observed. I suppose she thinks you don't forget your name, but we're not stupid. We know we're called Gred. I can't even say
But I
Gred
think that he's
and
talking to
Forge.
Harry, not Ron, saying, oh, you don't have a letter on.
But he said, why aren't you wearing yours, Ron? George demanded.
Yeah, I
Come on,
assume
get
he's
it
talking
on.
to
They're
Ron.
lovely and warm. And then he says,
Yeah, he's
I
talking
hate maroon. And then Percy stuck his head through the door looking disapprovingly. He had clearly gotten halfway through unwrapping his presents as he too carried a lumpy sweater over his arm. And it says, P for prefect. Get it on, Percy. Come on, we're all wearing ours. Even Harry got one.
Guess who owes me a butterbeer?
They frog marched Percy from the room. His arm was pinned to his side by the sweater.
I'll take that hot.
All right. Let's talk about
I don't
Christmas.
know. I feel
Oh,
like
you
he has
know.
a letter.
Oh, you know.
You know.
Let's talk about Christmas. I'm going to start this off by talking about the fact that I think it's interesting that it first talks about Christmas dinner and then later on it says Harry and the Weasleys spent a happy afternoon having a furious snowball fight.
Furious.
So what time is dinner is my question.
Probably
It's
early.
probably like 2 o'clock. That's
Yeah,
usually
that's
like
what we
dinner.
do.
That's like
is
That's
for-
like holiday
I
day
know.
dinner.
That's holiday dinner time.
all right. So
It's Linner.
okay. The feast includes all types of delicious foods, 100 fat roasted turkeys, a mountain of boiled and roasted potatoes, a platter of fat chipolatas. Now, if I'm saying that incorrectly, I apologize to everyone. And I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up, and I had a little chuckle to myself because it says it's a type of fresh sausage. And then I put a big smiley face.
Sarah.
And then it's terrines of buttered peas, which again, I
Terrines.
apologize for. Because I don't know if I'm saying terrines correctly. And those are like, when I looked it up, they were like fancy little boats of
Oh, yeah,
that you
yeah.
can put buttered peas in. I don't know
Just
what
buttered peas, nothing else.
Well, you
Nothing
can
else.
put, like I would put gravy in it, but I guess people
Yeah.
pour gravy. So, silver boats of rich, thick of gravy, and no one.
Rich, thick cranberries.
Thick gravy. I skipped cranberries, and there's cranberry sauce, and then of course for dessert there's flaming pudding.
Flaming pudding.
I'm assuming
It's
it's
on
on fire.
On fire.
And there's a great article on Pottermore. I'm like, what is that website called? And it's
Oh my God.
entitled, and now we can put it on the Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebook. And
Did
it's
you
the
know it
differences.
used to be called the Facebook?
I still call it the Facebook. Sometimes I call it the face space. Shout out to Jen. So it says the differences between a Muggle Christmas and a Wizarding Christmas. And so the very first thing it talks about is the food. And they basically are like, there's not much difference because like, in a Muggle Christmas, as with the Hogwarts Christmas feast, it's got turkeys, they've got flaming chocolate, or Christmas pudding, and they even says even the most powerful of wizards won't be able to resist falling asleep by the end of it. And then, but there are few magical touches that Muggles sadly cannot compete with. The main thing being that there are means of magic that can make food replenish itself, meaning Christmas dinner never has to end. Imagine having the miracle of never-ending wine, for example. I'm sure Hagrid would love it, / does love it. So would I, Hagrid. Magical stuff aside, wizards also like to put their own little twist on the old Muggle tradition of hiding a sixpence in a Christmas pudding, as demonstrated by Percy, who nearly choked on a sickle embedded in his festive dessert.
Sickle, sickle, sickle. I made you.
Wrong holiday.
And correct. And so we see Hagrid indulging in copious amounts of wine, so much that he's a little bit red in the face, and he even kisses McGonagall on the cheek, who just kind of laughs, because I think she too is indulging in some wine.
Too.
And, they all merrily stuff their faces until they're full. And it says that, so kind of after dinner, it's still kind of hanging around. Yes, Megan?
I just want to say that we are totally going to have ourselves a Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Watch
Yes.
us say this and not be able to pull it off.
No, we're doing it.
Meaning picking a date and actually doing
I
it.
expect
we're doing
100 fat roast turkeys.
Yeah. And
In front of me.
Sarah's making them.
I've never made a turkey in my life, nor do I like that.
fresh sausage.
What?
I'll get you fresh sausages. Don't you worry.
I want real cranberry sauce.
Actually, I watched a girl make some, so we can make cranberry sauce.
I know how to make it.
So they also have crackers on the table.
Not
Crackers,
edible
crackers,
I
when
cracked.
no, but when I first read this, I was like, oh, crackers.
I was real
getting to that.
confused the
You
first
guys
time I
didn't know
read
what, Christmas crackers are?
no.
Oh. So it's basically, they're kind of like a little package. What I've always seen them, they're cylindrical, and then you have two people, and you both pull the ends of them, and then there's a prize inside. And so going back to wizarding Christmases or wizarding holidays versus Muggle ones, with the Muggle ones, they kind of just get plastic toys or paper crowns, but the wizarding ones could almost be anything. So Harry gets a wizard's chest out of one cracker. He pulls one with Fred, which sends a big blast and covers them with blue smoke. And then it gave them a rear admiral's hat and real live white mice. Harry also gets a pack of non-explodable luminous balloons, a grow-your-own warts kit, which... Who would want that? What are you going to do with a grow your own wart?
I'm not
kit?
grow a wart.
But is that something you use on someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
You
Figure out how to get that on Draco's face.
That would be amazing.
And it's cool to see that, I don't know, because clearly my friends at this table don't know much about it, but I watched some YouTubers online that are British, so I've seen them use them. So maybe it's more of a UK thing. So let us know. I don't know. We've
Sarah
not done them much.
It's all about the YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, this is true.
The tube of you. You owe me a Coke. 2 Cokes.
What?
I get 2 Cokes.
Oh gosh. And so it's cool to see that they're doing all these crazy things, and they even say doesn't Dumbledore have swaps his pointy wizard's hat for a flowered bouquet and was chuckling.
Bouquet.
Yeah.
Bonnet.
Oh my god.
I'm wearing a bouquet.
I can't talk.
I want to see him in a flower bonnet.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's cool to see that. There's live mice, and you see at the end, Harry's I don't know. He's some of the mice have disappeared, and has a little bit of an afterthought of ooh, that's probably what Mrs. Norris is going to eat tonight. And then we see that Harry and the Weasleys spent a lot of time afterwards having a ferocious / furious is what it actually says, snowball fight on the grounds. And then they go up to the common room to relax after their fight and have turkey sandwiches.
Sammy's.
So they're eating again, which I think we can all relate to when you have a big holiday. And I guess if you're eating at 2:00 in the afternoon, I know what I do for Christmas is that you have your big meal. And for us, my own family, and we haven't done this in a couple of years, but we used to go to a hall because I have a large family. We'd eat our dinner at like 2, and then we'd all pack up the rest of the food that was still left over and go to someone's house, whether it be mine or my uncle's or whomever's, my grandparents maybe, and then we'd eat again a couple hours later. We'd kind of just leave it all out and continue to graze for the whole night. So they kind of do that too, as you see them eating later on.
We are like the wizards.
Yes. Oh, and there's another article on Pottermore about why Christmas is at Hogwarts is better than any other.
Because it's Hogwarts.
Do tell.
Yeah. And he's like, there's a good chance that it'll be a white Christmas. And it even says that the chance, it always seems to snow at Hogwarts in December. And I know for me personally, I enjoy a white Christmas.
Yes.
We're from Cleveland. We know that snow is inevitable. I am also one of those people that I don't hate it until like March, then I'm over it.
I like snow days.
I'm over it after New Year's.
But here's my thing. I feel like I want a white Christmas. I want a white New Year's. And after that, I don't care as much. But if I'm having a green Christmas, I'm a little mad.
Yep.
And then it talks about there's the promise of butterbeer. After everyone has tired themselves out in the snow and returned to the common room exhausted and cold, there would always be a nice warming butterbeer waiting if the Weasleys have anything to do with it. But I think you have to be a little bit older to drink that. And it says it has Christmas baubles like you'll never seen, that you've never seen. I can't talk. So it's always decorated in such a great way. And you see Hagrid was bringing up those large trees. And I know I'm one of those people that I love a good Christmas decoration. And I really enjoy decorating the Christmas tree. At least I really used to before my grandma died. We used to do it together.
Like, I'm real excited to decorate for Halloween at our house, but I'm really, really excited to decorate for Christmas.
I used to get, when I was a kid, so we, for years, used to get real Christmas trees.
I'm allergic.
My mom is allergic.
I'm allergic to everything.
Once we got older, I would be the only one, but I'm also, I like my Christmas tree looking a certain way. So I'd be the only one putting all the decorations on it and everything. And because everyone's like, well, I'm allergic. I was like, yeah, so am I. Like, I think I'm allergic to it. I'd get like spots on my arms as I'm like wrapping the lights around. But like, I'm so obsessed. I'm like, no, my tree needs to look perfect. Just like they do in Harry Potter with the baubles and the decorations and like the certain little ornaments you have to put on the trees. And
Yeah.
I love a good Christmas tree. Yeah. And it says the Great Hall is the perfect Christmas venue. It's one of the finest places to tuck into a Christmas dinner. So that's always good. And it says not even someone dreading taking Polyjuice potion later could fail to enjoy Christmas dinner at Hogwarts. Because, I mean, again, renewing plates of sausages, what more could you want out of life?
Yeah.
Like, that is heaven.
I'm actually really hungry right now, and I'm thinking, like, this sounds great.
And it says
I'm
wizarding.
So hungry. And I ate like before we started podcasting.
Wizarding festive food is amazing. While on the subject of food, the festive foods at Hogwarts of School of Witchcraft and Wizardry are like none other. Sorry, Mrs. Weasley.
Whoa.
And then it describes like the very first Christmas feast that they have and all of the food. And I'm sure that they didn't just have turkey, potatoes, sausage, and peas. Like there's probably
ham
thousands,
and chicken and like probably shepherd's pie and all that kind of
and crazy other like vegetables and like, you know, and I'm sure they didn't just have flaming
puddings.
pudding, correct. Which I'd be interesting to see.
Stacks of chocolate
But like at the
frogs
same time,
for the kids to take.
That'd be awesome.
I know in England when they say pudding, like they mean like all the desserts I believe are called pudding, and like so you can get different kinds. So maybe
Someone clarify that.
UK fans, let us know.
yes, please, because 90% of the
Because
time
when I think
I'm like,
pudding,
wrong.
I'm thinking of snack packs.
And it says wizarding crackers are even better, like I said. So they can really make Christmas at Hogwarts a blast. So you never know what you're going to get out. Literally. So I think that we can all agree that we would love to spend a Christmas at Hogwarts.
I would be into that.
I love the cold. So like to be bundled up in the snow,
Katie.
eating sausages at Hogwarts.
Oh my
Probably
gosh.
crying into my warm butterbeer because I'm there. Happy tears. Sausage in one hand, hot butterbeer in the other. A tissue to cry my eyes out about.
Oh my
Hogwarts at
gosh.
Christmas at Hogwarts. Hogwarts at Christmas.
She's done.
Singing along to Christmas carols with Dumbledore because we know he likes to sing.
That's true.
So what happens after that, Tiffany?
All right. So After clearly a very eventful Christmas day, as Sarah described, Harry gets into bed, and for the first time that day, he actually has a chance to think about the cloak that he received. And he takes it out, and he's thinking about the phrase that he read where it said, use it well. And he, like, knew immediately that he had to use it, like, right then, and that he had to use it alone. He thought about waking up Ron, but he had, like, this feeling that it should just be him.
I'm so glad that he did it alone.
I agree.
Yeah. And so the first place that he wants to go is the restricted section of the library.
Nerd.
And so he picks...
I would say rebel.
Ooh.
A nerdy rebel.
Yes.
He picks up a lantern, and Megan kindly brought up, why would you not just use Lumos? And then I asked, well, maybe have they learned it yet? But it seems pretty basic.
Can I
That
just
seems
say,
like such a basic spell.
and as Sarah points out, this is why he's not a Ravenclaw.
That's true.
Hermione would have used Lumos, /
When-
wouldn't have gone out of bed
When do they use Lumos for the first time?
I don't know.
last night. I don't know.
I think actually
No, in the forest.
in chamber.
Well, no,
whenever
for
they're going to
detention.
the
Right? No?
either that or whenever they go to Aragog. I don't remember.
We'll find out real soon.
We'll find out.
So in the library, he sees books with peeling and faded gold letters that form words in languages that he didn't understand. Some didn't have any titles, and one had a dark stain on it that appeared to be blood.
Gross.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder how that got there.
Probably potions.
Paper cut.
Every time we're down here, I just never know what you're going to say, and
Let's
it's
be
always
honest.
great.
I never know what I'm gonna say.
That's also very
And then
true.
I say it and forget about it. And weeks later, I'm like, wait, I said what?
And Katie and I always are like, oh my gosh, Sarah said this, and we just crack up about it later on.
She's like, "What are you talking about? I didn't say that." Yeah,
yeah, you did.
It could be dragon's blood.
It could be.
I like paper cut.
It could be the blood of their enemies.
big old paper cut. Blood of my enemies. Oh my gosh. Oh jeez. He thought he heard faint whispering from one of the books, and he also thought that like this book like knew someone shouldn't be there, or like someone there that shouldn't be, which I think is just incredibly creepy.
Yeah, agreed.
Someone showed up.
Right. Oh my God. It's like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
But maybe it is. Maybe they'll go away.
I love that movie.
And then he pulls out a black and silver book from the shelf. And when he opened it, this is the book that began shrieking. So he slams the book shut, causes a ruckus as he books it out of the library. You're all welcome for that.
You need to leave.
I know, right? And he slips like just under Filch's arm. He had no idea where he was going, and he soon found himself lost. And he's looking around. He was by a tall suit of armor. And then he starts to overhear a conversation between Snape and Filch. And Snape had asked Filch to monitor if someone was wandering around at night. So it's kind of early for a lightning bolt question, but I wanted to throw it in. I have other questions for the round. But what do you think Filch thinks Snape is up to? Do you think he even cares? Or he's
don't
just
think- I
don't
wanting to
think he
get
cares.
caught?
I don't think
Or
he,
catch someone, I mean.
I don't
bet-
think he questions it. He just does what he says.
I think that Filch likes Snape because he's kind of a jerk.
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
I was gonna say something else.
Yeah, I know you were.
And I think that if things were reversed, Snape would like be like, "Go ahead, hang students. I don't care." So like Filch is kind of on his side. You know what I mean?
So
like,
do you think
he's just like whatever. Snape can do
So
whatever
Snape
he
is
wants.
like, hey, look out for people. He's like, done.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I think he really respects Snape.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I would
agree
go with
with
that.
that. But it's Filch.
True.
aka filth.
Oh my.
Argus filth.
Arg.
Is he a pirate now?
We're going to go on. Things are happening. Okay. A door was open and he squeezed inside without being heard. And so, when we were talking, he finds himself in an old classroom. And I don't know when I had this thought or why I had this thought, but I always thought that this room was the room of requirement.
I may have made a discovery here. Continue, but it'll come out.
It'll come out?
Yeah.
Okay. But then when I was looking through Pottermore, it says all the instances where we see the room of requirement. This wasn't listed under them because Megan and Katie were talking and they were like, I don't think that's the room of requirement. And I just thought that it was because it was it was open to him. It was perfect timing. It just
I never
felt
made
that
that
way.
connection.
Katie, go ahead.
I think you actually might be right, and I might be wrong.
Can you give me some evidence to back this up?
Yeah, because go ahead.
No, I want to hear what you had to say before you thought that she might be right.
Why I thought she was wrong?
Correct.
It had never occurred to me. I didn't know if she was wrong or right, but I had literally never thought of that ever before.
Same here.
Which I thought was really cool when she brought it up when we were talking about prepping
not
this
that cool.
episode.
I'm real cool.
I thought that it could be, but I always know whenever JK talks about the room of requirement, she very specifically mentions the tapestry on the other side of the wall. And a tapestry was never mentioned in this specific chapter. And that's why I came to the conclusion that it wasn't the room of requirement.
All right. Well,
But then
go ahead.
I was looking up because I have a section later on that it has to do with the mirror as well. So I looked it up on Pottermore, and it says that it has been languishing in the room of requirement for a century or so before Dumbledore brings it out and puts it to work. So is this the room of requirement, or did he move it temporarily out to then move it again to the chamber?
But why would he move it so
Yeah.
many times?
I don't know.
I'm going to headcanon this and say that I
Can
think
I
it is.
just also say, as many times before in all of our podcasts, my mind has been blown a little bit.
Yeah.
I
You're
never
all
thought
welcome.
like to make that connection, and now that I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's probably true.
I feel like since it says that it's been in the room of requirement for a century or so, I feel like it would be in the room of lost things.
But also, so Harry, say this is the room of requirement, and Harry stumbles upon it. Can Dumbledore get inside still? You know how it has
it's
weird
weird. He can
do
rules?
whatever he
I
wants.
think
Yes.
Dumbledore was in it before Harry got in it himself.
There's a rule with the room of requirement that they discover whenever they're trying to get Draco and Half-Blood Prince.
Yes.
You have to be thinking of the exact same room, and that room can't have been like, oh, I need to be unplottable or like whatever. Like the person who's in there originally can't have thought that, otherwise you won't be able to find it. But if they're, if someone is saying, oh, I need to find a room where I can hide something. They go in there, and then after Draco, Goyle, and Crabbe in the seventh one come in after them because they're thinking of the exact same place. But you can't think of a different place and go in the room of requirement. It has to be the same.
Two things to that point. Room of lost things. This mirror is not lost, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I have to go ahead and figure with Dumbledore the way that he's thinking. He knows what's in the room. It's the mirror. He knows what the mirror does. And so he can kind of just use that general intuition that he knows what Harry sees in that mirror. He knows why he's going there. And maybe that's why he can get in there.
Well, he
It
was
was
in there
just
first.
way too convenient to open that door to be open right there.
Yeah. I mean, the more that you think about it, I think that was the room of requirement.
Okay.
And maybe he was thinking like, whatever the first time, I don't know, like.
I don't know. I'm not convinced. But
That's okay.
It's fine.
I'm on the fence as well.
You just need to leave then.
I
Goodbye.
think
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
So my headcanon is that it is. Now that you brought that up, but you brought me back because when you guys said, oh, I don't know if it is, and I looked it up and I find it, I'm like, okay, this can't be it. But now,
I don't know.
Can
Tell
we
us
hear
what you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to hear your opinion. I just, it's even if it's not true, it's just an interesting thing.
it's an
to just
interesting
think
theory.
about. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So let's keep going with this. So propped up against the wall in this room that may not be of requirement, on the wall was the mirror, and it looked as if it didn't belong because there's it's just this old classroom with old school type things within it strewn about. It was a magnificent and high as the ceiling with an ornate gold frame with clawed feet. I don't want to read this.
Wait, it was gold, and in the movie it wasn't.
It was gold in the movie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I don't want to read what is backward because it's
Erised straw, eru, oit, ub, kafru, oit, on, wozy.
washy, was, Well, I don't know.
That was pretty good.
That was really good.
Golf clap.
Anyways, and that's inscribed on the top, meaning
Backwards.
I show you not your face, but
No.
your heart's.
You added.
I show not your face, but your heart's desire.
There we go.
So
I don't like it.
I know that first round, I didn't pick up on that, but
I remember being like still young and being like, "Oh my god, you just read it backwards."
Yeah.
Can I just say-
I remember
cool.
specifically going back to that page and like writing it
Yeah,
backwards.
yeah.
And like I didn't know what it said, but I had heard from somebody, "Oh, you just have to read it backwards." So I just like I wrote.
You wrote
there.
it out.
I wrote,
Yeah, Sarah did. Sarah's showing us in her book. She wrote it in her book.
and I
As an
went
adult.
just in one line and wrote all the letters backwards, and then I read it, and I'm like, "Oh my god." I show not your face. And I like remember like reading it out. I'm like, mind blown.
Oh,
I didn't know that. Literally, I think I found out. I remember being in line going to. We're in the Wizarding World. So what? 3.5 years ago, and you said something. I was like, oh. I was like, now I understand. Like, because I made a comment. I remember distinctly being in the line to get in the ride. The Forbidden Journey ride, and you like pointed it out.
it's
'cause I was
the
like,
worst ride.
oh, I'm really not a Harry Potter fan. I don't know who he is. Never read the books a day in my life.
So there's a short article on the Mirror of Erised on Pottermore, and so I'm just gonna kind of read it. It's pretty short.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. The Mirror of Erised is a very old device. Nobody knows who created it or how it came to be at Hogwarts School. A succession of teachers have brought back interesting artifacts from their travels, so it might have arrived at the castle in this casual manner, either because the teacher knew how it worked and was intrigued by it, or because they did not understand it and wished to ask their colleagues' opinions. The Mirror of Erised is one of those magical artifacts that seems to have been created in the spirit of fun. Whether innocent or malevolent is a matter of opinion. Because while it is much more revealing than a normal mirror, it is interesting rather than useful. Only after Professor Dumbledore makes key modifications to the mirror, which has been languishing in the room. Oh, that's where you got that. In the room of requirement for a century or so before he brings it out to put it to work. Guys, I'm sorry. It's the room of requirement. Done and done. Does it become a superb hiding place in the final test for the impure of heart? The mirror's inscription, blah, 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 whatever Megan said, must be read backwards to show its true purpose. And then these are Rowling's thoughts. Albus Dumbledore's words of caution to Harry when discussing the Mirror of Erised express my own views. The advice to hold on to your dreams is all well and good, but there comes a point when holding on to your dreams becomes unhelpful and even unhealthy. Dumbledore knows that life can pass you by while you are clinging on to a wish that can never be, or ought never be, fulfilled. Harry's deepest yearning is something impossible, the return of his parents. Desperately sad it is that he has been deprived of his family. Dumbledore knows that to sit gazing on a vision of what he can never have will only damage Harry. The mirror is bewitching and tantalizing, but it does not necessarily bring happiness.
Yep.
Truth.
Which actually I think is a really good segue into my part of Adventure 2 with the cloak.
Mm-hmm.
Because this kind of shows Harry and Ron's first little argument.
Yeah. So we're almost there too. So he's standing in front of it. He almost screams, and he's seeing his entire family. And I was thinking, what an overwhelming feeling this must be for him. It says he ached, half joy and half terrible sadness or something. I wrote silence, which is not true. He began to notice similarities between him and the people that he's seeing, and he realizes that he's seeing his family. He's noticing green eyes. Wake it up, King!
I'm sleeping. I'm sorry.
Noses, knobby knees, and untidy hair. And he sat for what I would guess, in my own opinion, to be hours.
Oh, yeah.
And he vowed to return.
He probably barely got any sleep that night.
It's so
How
sad.
devastating.
Like I just got chills thinking of him just going, Mom, Dad, like for the first time seeing these people that he's thought about.
Because he's
for how
never
long.
even seen a picture
His
of them
mom's
because
crying.
Petunia and Vernon.
How much of that is like
It literally almost like I'm on the verge of tears just thinking about it. Like I can't imagine what it would feel like never knowing my parents, and then all of a sudden you see them and you don't. He doesn't even
can't
know right
really
away. He's
have
like, oh
them.
my God, these people kind of look like me. And you notice he talks about the green eyes that his mom had, or who he sees a woman with red hair and green eyes, and he's like,
Yeah.
and a guy with untidy black hair standing next to her, and he's like, has probably a moment of realization of going, those are my parents. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's just
And then he's so happy.
heartbreaking.
And he's so sad. And it's just, I don't know. It's sadness. So, Night Adventure, Part 2.
So Harry goes back to Gryffindor Tower and wakes up the next morning, and Ron is a little bit upset that Harry didn't wake him up. But Harry promises that he can come tonight because that is all Harry is thinking about is going back. So, which is sad. But Harry is kind of excited, though, to show his family to Ron because that's how he thinks the mirror works at this moment in time. So he's also excited to see the rest of Ron's family. Harry thinks about the mirror all day, like obsesses over it. And he was really worried all day that he wouldn't be able to find that room again. But late at night, both him and Ron get under the invisibility cloak and head off. And then it says, they passed the ghost of a tall witch gliding in the opposite direction, but saw no one else. I wonder if that's the Gray Lady.
I think yes.
It's like our first little
Could be.
blurb of the Gray Lady.
Shout out to Ravenclaws.
Yeah. Ron was ready to give up pretty quickly on finding the room because they couldn't. And he was like complaining that his feet hurt and his feet were cold
They
and
were dead with cold.
dead.
He is such a little complainer.
But Harry was persistent because, again, he's been obsessing over this. So finally, they see the
Suit of armor.
They see the suit of armor. Yep, and Harry knows that it's right there. So they find it, and then they discover that not everybody sees the same thing in the Mirror of Erised. So again, Harry immediately sees his parents. But then he asks Ron to come. He's like, oh, do you see them? And Ron's like, no, I just see you. And then Harry's like, well, stand in it properly. Like, look. And Harry asks, oh, can you see your family? And Ron is like, what is going on? I'm older. I'm head boy. I'm Quidditch captain. I'm holding the house cup and the Quidditch cup. So it's pretty clear that Ron clearly feels overshadowed by all of his siblings.
Yeah.
Even Ginny, I think, because she's
Yeah.
the only girl. And then it's pretty naive of him to ask if the mirror shows the future because clearly Harry's parents are dead, so that's sad.
Wah, wah, wah.
And then they actually argue over who gets to stand in front of the mirror. And I think this is a good first example of Ron's jealousy issues that reappear throughout the entire series. Hugely in Goblet of Fire. Makes me want to like shake him.
Ron.
So,
I can understand.
yeah.
Goblet Ron.
Yeah.
They need haircuts in the movies.
Yes.
Gosh.
But then Mrs. Norris comes by and Ron drags Harry away from the mirror and then ends up saying that he thinks the mirror is dangerous and blah, blah, blah. And that they should not go back.
Which brings us to the next day because Harry's obsessing over the mirror even worse than before.
Just bringing Rowling's words like to truth. Like you can waste. Like he's just
Yeah.
Exactly.
obsessing over it.
He can't think of anything. Ron tries to get him to play chess. He suggests going to visit Hagrid, but nothing works. Harry's insistent, even though Ron says, I think it's dangerous. You probably shouldn't go.
Yeah.
He goes back anyway. But this time he runs into Dumbledore, and I think Harry thinks he's going to get into huge trouble. But again, this is another example of Harry getting away with everything and anything. Because he's Harry
Especially
Potter.
with Dumbledore.
Yeah. Like Dumbledore is instantly just smiling at him. Like he
loves
knew he
him.
was going to be there. Apparently Dumbledore was there the night before as well because he knows that Harry had shown Ron the mirror.
Interesting.
Creepy.
And we find out that Tiffany pointed this out. Well, Dumbledore doesn't need a cloak to become invisible, but Tiffany suggested that Dumbledore has branched into areas of magic that no one has even thought to touch. Kind of like Voldemort and how he taught himself to fly.
I mean, there's no other explanation for that.
Maybe he learned from Grindelwald.
I like the way you said that.
Grindelwald.
So Dumbledore explains that the Mirror of Erised shows us nothing more or less than the deepest, most desperate desire of our hearts. He says that men have wasted away before it, which Harry's on that path. Mm-hmm. And
After 3 visits,
Right.
he's clearly on that path. Yeah.
But
And-
you have to think of it as your desire.
Right.
That's
It's
such a strong word.
the deepest thing,
yeah.
They're entranced by what they've seen, or they've even been driven mad, not knowing if what it shows is real or even possible. And Dumbledore tells Harry that they're going to be moving the mirror tomorrow, and he asks him to not go looking for it again. And we get one of the famous quotes of the whole series, and he says, "It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live." And I wrote, how does this apply in the real world? And I think part of what Tiffany read before, just that Harry's wish to have his family, it's never going to be. He's never going to have those people back in his life.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
that's
mean
so
that he
sad.
can't move on, And I
Right.
think some people in life think about, the next thing always, or
Yes.
or they wish they had something, and meanwhile their entire life is passing them by.
I will tell you that my mom has always said, and I've heard this since I was in grade school. I'm like, I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. She goes, you should stop wishing your life away. It's like you need to not worry about, but live in the present essentially, and stop waiting for the next thing. Live in the moment.
Yeah. Well, and that I've been trying to do this myself as well with my students, teaching them mindfulness. And one of the things that we talk about is just being in the now. And if you think about all the technology that we have, people are glued to their phones. I've tried to pull away from that. But we do these little videos to kind of calm down. And it's if you're just eating something, just eat something. If you're talking to someone, just talk to someone. And so I like how it's just mindfulness, practicing mindfulness and being right in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what,
People nowadays
yeah.
don't know how to do that. When I'm hanging out with
And
friends,
I'm
I
guilty
won't
of
be on
it,
my
sure.
phone. I can spend a whole not lunch specifically, but a whole amount of time with my friends. I'm my phone's wherever. I'm the people, if they really need me, you can get a hold of me, but try not to be with people and not on technology.
So are you telling me that I shouldn't have all those countdowns on my phone to my next Disney World trip?
No.
I'm not saying not to, but
Looking
being
forward
excited
to
about
something is
Pi Day
nice.
tomorrow.
That building that anticipation is good. But in Harry's case, he
can never get what he
Right.
is seeing.
And even if you think about Ron, some of that stuff could be achievable. But in Harry's case, none of it.
but even for Ron, you can't live your life expecting it to go, in a certain way, and you could be devastated because it might not happen. He might be planning on, I'm going to be head boy. I'm going to be the captain of the Quidditch team, and it never happens. And then he's going to be sad for the rest of his life. Try not to think like that. Just live in the moment and be if I even make the Quidditch team, that's great, but I don't have to be all those things. I don't have to, he has so many older brothers that he looks to and probably is thinking his parents expect him to be like Bill or like Charlie or like any of them, and he just needs to be his own person and not compare his life to anybody else's.
And I think that in the end, Ron does a really good job, obviously, at making his own story, because does he become Quidditch captain? No. Does he even have the chance to become head boy? No. He doesn't. I don't think that they win a Quidditch Cup.
Not
With
while
Ron on the
is I
team.
don't think.
They get the House Cup, but look at all the stuff that he did.
Yes.
I mean, he got to
Yeah.
help save the Wizarding World with Harry Potter.
Yeah, and I think that's an important lesson for people to learn. I know even for myself, I thought everyone thinks their life is going to go a certain way, and it doesn't always end up like that. So
Yeah. Well, actually, to that point, Harry Potter is all about lessons. And whether you're faith based or not, some people say, "Tell God your plans," and he'll laugh.
I love that quote.
But if you think about it, even if you're not faith based, the universe always has a way of working things out for you. So something that you wanted so much and you thought was absolutely for you, and you don't get it, and then your life ends up turning out to be everything that you didn't know that you needed.
yeah.
And that just, go ahead.
Well, I know because we've had this conversation
We
and
have.
a little bit going back to being faith based because I know I am and I know Tiffany is. There's a country song and the guy's he's like, I don't know what the title is of it. but it's basically like thank God for unanswered prayers because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like in it. He basically is like, I wanted to date this girl and all this other stuff, and it never happened. And he's like, but thank God for unanswered prayers because I met the woman I'm married to, and I love her and my kids and everything.
Yeah.
And that is such like you're saying,
Yeah.
you don't know.
And if you think about what Ron wanted, all those things, he didn't get
Fame and glory,
most
essentially.
of those things. And look how he's with Hermione.
Yeah.
He's with the
He
love of
got
his life.
a chocolate frog card,
Yeah.
which he ended up realizing
So
to be one
so-
of his like favorite things ever that he got. Out
It
of
like
the whole
worked
war.
out.
If you think about it, he wanted fame and glory and he got it, but in such a different way, in such a more important way. And you see him later on where he's married and he's got 2 kids, and doesn't he end up working with George?
Yeah.
So like he ends up exactly where he needs to be.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Important lesson for everyone to
No,
learn.
but truthfully,
Shout out to Ron.
Harry Potter's all about lessons. And we can learn so much.
Everything in Harry Potter is relatable to the real world.
Honest
It
to
truthfully
God.
is.
Well, and honestly, I've never even thought about it until just now, and I'm like, God, I need to like take some of this stuff to heart and remember it.
I think it's important to remind yourself of this quote every
Yeah.
now and then.
I agree.
Again, for mindfulness. I like that word.
A lot of
a lot of
Dumbledore
people
things.
have this tattooed, so shout out to Harry Potter tattoos. We would all like to get one, but we're all really afraid of tattoos.
What?
Not.
We all have a Harry Potter tattoo.
Some of us have too.
Do you don't have any hollows though, right?
I do not have a hollow.
You got to get a hollow.
I thought you were going to be like, wait, do you have
Maybe.
one? Yes, she does.
No.
She has two. One of these things is not like the other, Tiffany.
Yeah, I can't.
No, I don't
We already got the stars on their wrist without me, which I really
But-
want, but I just can't.
If you guys have a Harry Potter tattoo, send us a picture because we would love
yes.
to see it, and
Let's-
we will show you ours.
Let's do a post.
Yes.
Let's put all
Yeah.
ours. We all have Potter tattoos.
We got
Sarah and I have the
Yeah.
Deathly Hallows on our sides. Mine's rustic, and Sarah has straight lines. Megan has a key with the Deathly Hallows on her wrist.
A
plus
flying key.
Flying key. Plus stars. Is that those are the Potter ones? Mm-hmm. Katie's got the Marauders' footprints. Is that your only in the stars?
And the stars.
And that's it.
I also have
and
the
then
stars.
Sarah has the stars too.
So we showed you because we recently got the 3 of us recently got the stars.
Yeah.
So you guys
And we
saw a
shared
picture
that
of
on
that
social media.
So we'll show you
I
another
felt left
picture of
out.
our other one. So
And
Yeah,
then you guys
we'll
can
post.
comment with your picture.
yeah, and
Yes.
show us yours.
literally love to see them because all of them are great, and then you see some that you're like you see some of them. And they're so ridiculously creative that it
Gosh.
blows my mind that I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't believe someone thought of it, and it looks amazing.
There's like someone that has like this full sleeve, and it's like the landscape.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
it's
there's-
so beautiful.
There's one that I saw, and it's just I really like a lot of like outlines of they have them of the I've seen a lot of the cityscape of Cleveland and even other cityscapes.
Yeah.
and there's one where it's just the line of the outline of Hogwarts, and I literally was like, I want that.
That would
Like,
be
I want
amazing.
that. I need to wait a significant period of time before getting.
if I get another one, I gotta get the Triforce.
do it. I'm a bad influence. I hope
are
your
a bad
mom's not listening.
Yeah, she would be very upset with you. All right, let's go into our lightning bolt round. I have never been more prepared for this round than
me
I am
either.
today. Serious?
Yeah, I have so many questions.
Did Katie finish her?
I did not.
Katie,
I have like one quick.
I thought
little
you
wrap-up.
finished.
No, it's okay.
God, I'm sorry. I'll buy you a cookie. You don't have to buy me a Coke.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
That's
Sarah,
fair.
you owe me one though.
Okay.
Just
Chicken
the
nuggets for
end.
your baby. Just remember.
Jeez.
It's just the end of the wrap up of the chapter, pretty much. So, I wanted to ask, what does Dumbledore actually see in the mirror? Because Harry does ask him, but it's a super personal question, and this is probably one of 2 questions that Dumbledore ever lies to Harry.
But do you
Isn't
think he's
truthful.
actually lying to him?
I think so. Yes,
Do you think maybe he saw his love?
No.
maybe. Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Grindelwald.
Yeah, but I think also mostly Ariana and his
Yeah,
mom.
I was gonna
One
say his
of
family.
my lightning
yeah.
bolt questions.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Me.
and
We're just one up on
probably-
each other today.
And probably the love of his life, Grindelwald.
Yes.
But do you think that's the love of his life, or maybe someone else's?
No, I think
Me.
Madam
I'm
Pomfrey and the
Dumbledore's
Mirror
love.
Muffs. I'm just saying.
But socks are also brought up again. That's a recurring theme in
is.
Harry Potter.
I wish we would know. Like, can you please write a Pottermore article on that? Because I'd be fascinated to know why it's brought up so much. Because they're awesome. We kind of
Socks are
looked
pretty
into it
great.
on the lexicon, but I need like in depth.
Legit.
It's
In
very
depth
vague
socks.
on the lexicon.
I will end with Harry gets back in bed and shoves Scabbers off his pillow.
Bye.
Bye, Peter.
He's gross.
He is
Peace
gross.
out, Peter.
He's gross.
And now we can move on
All right.
to the lightning bolt.
Now I've never been more prepared for what I have today.
Can I go first? Because I never have questions.
Let
Yes.
it go.
I never have
No, I
questions.
know you never have questions. That's why I'm letting you go.
I never have questions, but I make up on the fly.
Yeah, you're really good at that. All right, go.
If you could ask for one thing from the Wizarding World for Christmas, what would it be?
It's gonna be like your
From-
mom.
Like from
You idiot.
She called me last night.
if you were a part of the Wizarding World and you like have all of those objects at your disposal, what would you want for
does
Christmas?
it have to be an object?
No.
I would ask for Remus Lupin.
Oh god. What would I want?
Can I
Honestly-
have a time turner so I can fix cursed?
I'd like a flying Fort Anglia. No, I'm kidding. What would I want?
I want a broom.
I want a broom.
Oh, everybody picked Fozzie Bear's broom, and then I forgot to say what his broom was. I think it's a clean sweep, though.
I voted clean sweep.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I don't even think I commented.
I would
I'm a
want
bad
a broom.
You're an ant.
Podcaster person.
Probably.
What?
I
my
would
favorite.
want a wand.
We already
You
had.
already have a wand. You're
Yeah.
at
You would
Hogwarts.
already have.
Yeah.
One. You're part of the Wizarding World.
Come on,
You
Katie.
didn't say that.
Yes,
Yes,
you
she did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, when your ears
You know
should
what?
listen.
When you listen to this,
you
I'm
have
done.
got to listen.
I'm out.
What is that from?
Okay, guys, this isn't a
I
very
don't know.
good lightning bolt round here.
I don't
You're
know what I
supposed
would
to
ask
answer.
for.
Broom.
I answered. I said
said
broom. I
broom.
said clean sweep, and I said a time turner.
I don't know. Do they have like magical like sheets that change color?
That would be
Ooh, I would probably want a lot of like hair potions, like so I could do different things and like
Sleekies.
yeah, but like, do they have ones that like automatically change your hair color and
I'm
like
sure
do
they
stuff like
do,
that?
yeah.
That's what I would want. Like, or like a whole book on. Clearly, you can tell that I'm a hairstylist when I'm like, I want all the hair things.
Oh my
Like a
gosh.
book on hair stuff, so I could like do cool things with my hair, so I could pretend I'm like a metamorphosis. Is that
We're all-
what they're called? They're
Metamorphagus.
Yep.
We're all
That
like,
too.
we want brooms, and Sarah's like, I want sheets that change colors.
No, but honestly, everything she
I'm
talks
obsessed
about
with
is
sheets.
is your bed.
I love my bed. It's the best place in the entire world.
That's where you get to sleep.
I got a new duvet cover. Love it.
Not talking about that.
Okay, next
Um,
question.
Do you have one, or do you want to like skip around?
I mean, I have more.
Oh, go on. Go, sister.
What section in the library would you be most excited to look through?
The restricted section.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to go in there.
I think I would just want to look through all the charms books.
creature book.
I was gonna say creatures.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think I would want to be a magizoologist.
I would be interested in reading. I don't even know if they would have it, but again, I want to know. We talked about this pre-podcast today about like the history of the Muggle world versus the Wizarding world. So I wonder if they have like comparisons. I would want to read.
I'm
about
sure they
that.
have like a Muggle studies section.
But they would be. They'd be.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be so interesting to see how if or how it affected it. Because I'm assuming it would. Because we see later on how the Wizarding world affects.
Yeah.
When certain things are happening, how it affects the Muggle world. I'd be interested
Yeah.
to see vice versa.
I have another one.
Go.
What color would your Weasley sweater be?
Purple.
We kind of already answered this, but I think blue
Yellow.
Green.
or gray.
Ooh, I like gray.
Ooh, actually, I'd want purple.
I'll twin with you.
I think blue or gray.
Okay.
What would you be most excited to get out of Wizard Cracker for Christmas
I was
dinner?
going to answer that
A whole
question.
cat.
Not a half a cat.
Do you want it to be alive?
Yes.
There were live mice.
My
in there.
next
Why
my
not
next
have
question:
cats?
do you want a cat or a kitten?
A kitten.
I'd want
Either.
5 kittens.
I would want a kitten.
It explodes in 5 kittens. That'd be the best
I
Christmas
I think I would
ever.
start crying. Or puppies.
I have
Oh, I want all the
Little
puppies.
I have serious kitten fever right now. I really want
wanna
a
see
kitten
Tucker?
because my friend just got a kitten and it's the cutest little thing
What
ever.
would I want? I would probably
No, I want all the puppies.
Is there anything else you guys would want out of the crackers? What
Crackers.
I was gonna say crackers.
I wanted some crackers.
Maybe I would
want a chess set.
I
That
would.
was cool.
Well,
Yeah,
what
I
other
think
kind
that's
of
cool.
games do they exploding snaps?
Yeah.
Gobstones.
Jinx.
Give me a Coke.
Gobstones.
Oh, yes.
Do you think they have,
Yes.
do you think they have like actual like chocolate and stuff? Like
Chocolate.
I want a big Honeydukes bar.
Yeah.
what if like you got a house elf out of one of them? Hermione would be angry.
That is not kind.
Be
Merry
kind
Christmas,
and rewind.
you get a slave. That's horrible.
It's awful.
Oh,
Do you have any more prepared questions?
I have one more.
hold on. What if
But
you
I
got
don't
an
know if anybody
owl?
wants to answer it.
Go ahead.
I'm
and
not going to
ask.
answer it because I know what you're going to ask.
What?
It's too personal.
It's very personal. Does anybody want to share what they would see in the Mirror of Erised?
Nope.
There is one thing I would say, but I can't. So. Well, you know what? Actually, I probably will say it. I want to battle with Rebel Watch and win because we all know we're gonna. Swish and Flick
I
is
want to do that
thebomb.com.
episode where we like compare things Harry Potter to Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I hope they know. Spoiler alert: we're gonna win because it's
Yeah.
better than Star Wars. And
Magic
everything else ever.
trumps
Everything.
force
1,000%.
all day, every day.
Smuggles for the win.
Smuggles
Yes.
faux life.
We're gonna win.
In all honesty,
They're gonna cry,
because
and
like
it's gonna be
I'm not really grown up yet. I really
None of
think
us
that
are.
I would see a hairless cat.
Call her Rachel Green.
It's not a cat. It's not a cat.
I really and
You really want
okay,
one of those?
I really do. So all
Are they
of our
Sphinx cats?
Sphinx, yeah, all
I
of our
don't.
cats.
I
are
would never
named-
visit you.
All of our cats are named after Harry Potter characters, and I want to get a hairless cat and name it Harry. So bad.
Don't they like thousands of dollars?
I don't know.
Can you get a used one?
I want it as a kitten.
You know what I would see in the mirror besides,
It's so
our
weird.
winning battle with Rebel Watch?
Yeah, what?
Me marrying like George Clooney.
There you
I
go.
really wanted
He's
that
already
when I was
married.
a child. I know.
I can't
Is
think
that
of
You know what I would
deepest,
see?
most desperate desire of your heart?
Are we talking about right now? Because I could go for a good burger.
Like from the Good Burger.
Home of the good burger.
Can I take your order?
I really
Who
don't
loves
know.
orange soda?
You don't know what you want?
Katie's
No.
struggling.
You want cats.
Actually,
More cats.
Okay, so
All the
I would
cats.
see myself. I would see myself with Katie and a Sphinx cat
Oh my god.
Oh, now I'm included.
on Main Street, USA of Walt Disney World.
But-
walking our cat with a little like harness on. And
What about-
it would be
what
like a
about your other
circus cat
cats?
Cat
take it
leashes?
everywhere.
Just cat leashes.
What about Iggy and Teddy?
They're in the
Yeah,
backpack
they
on my
would be
back.
there too. Ooh,
No, they're in those
they
babies'
would be in a
backpacks.
stroller. They would be in a stroller.
People do that.
Wait, so you will let your two cats ride in a stroller, but the poor little ugly one that has no fur has to walk? Are you punishing him for having no hair?
Are you calling my future cat
Well,
it will be if it's hairless.
I realize that Iggy probably will take a really long time to get along with it, so they have to be separate.
and let's
Iggy's
be
snotty.
honest, he's
Iggy
kind of
is
like
a super snot.
Iggy's very
Oh.
smug.
that's why he fits in the group so well.
He's a smuggle.
He's a smuggle cat. All right.
He's a little jerk. We had our friend come over with her baby, and he hissed at the baby.
He was
I
terrified
was like,
of this
dude,
child.
you better get it together for whenever we bring home a
Whoa.
baby.
I have a question for the lightning bolt round.
I have questions.
Tiffany, poor Tiffany.
Oh, you can ask yours. I might have one. Mine might be yours, so go ahead and ask.
That's why I want to ask mine.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Can Mrs. Norris see through Harry's cloak?
no.
I don't think so.
Because
I
it is the
think-
true cloak of invisibility.
Maybe she can smell them.
Oh,
I actually wrote that. I said, can she smell him? But I also wonder, like, is it the true cloak of invisibility for humans?
I think
Animals are very different.
everything.
yeah, but no, I think that there might be some creatures, but
Or-
not that one.
No. Is she a familiar?
Not that cat.
All right. How does Dumbledore know Harry has been there before and would be back again? Is he keeping tabs on Harry? How
Dumbledore knows
does he know?
all.
is that your only reason?
He has the all-seeing eye.
He's good at reading.
I think that maybe Dumbledore didn't know that he went the first time,
Agreed.
but after he came back a second time and it was pretty clear, maybe Dumbledore was in there staring in the mirror.
I have a
the second
theory.
I
time.
was gonna say
God, that's so
Would you like to
creepy.
hear my theory?
yes.
I have a theory that portrait somewhere in the hall that's not mentioned probably relayed the message. I think that Dumbledore probably told the portraits, just keep an eye on Potter. And they told him, or they were just like, some kid's going in the room where you put the mirror, you might want to go check it out.
Yeah. That's a
Or-
good thought.
Thank you.
Maybe because the mirror was going to be moved soon, maybe Dumbledore wanted to look in it one more time.
I think that
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like both, honestly.
Yeah.
The one
I'm
with
going with I think he was maybe in there the second time, but he was disillusioned or something.
I like the idea of him looking in the mirror because it gives me a lot of emotions.
it
and I
hits you in the
think-
feels.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that, at least in my theory, him and Harry see the same thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's why he understands so much
Yeah.
why Harry would come back a third time.
Oh God, that makes me want to.
Yeah. So that was one of my questions. What does Dumbledore see in the mirror? And my answer for that was, I think he sees his family put back together. Not all his family, like Harry saw, his immediate family, and then I think Grindelwald's right in there as well.
And Aberforth is there too,
Yeah.
even though he's not.
Yeah. No,
dead.
the immediate
No, but yeah,
family.
yeah. I agree.
Everybody's
I agree.
together.
Because
It's all
meaning like Aberforth
great.
is happy with him again. He's not angry.
Yeah, I think it's a whole family with no
everything's-
power, hungry greed.
It's all good.
Yep.
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 Sunshines and rainbows and such things.
Daisies.
My other thing was, how did Dumbledore make himself invisible? And then
Because he's a boss.
we kind of went into that.
I go invisible like a boss.
So we basically talked about all of mine.
All right.
Y'all suck.
Here's my question. Imagine. Close your eyes.
Feel
You're
it.
at Hogwarts.
I'm there.
It's Christmas Day. What do you want for your feast? What is your ideal Hogwarts Christmas feast, food-wise?
Food wise.
Ham,
Just ham.
mashed potatoes, corn, and
Stuffing.
no,
Yes.
Oh, love stuff.
This is not your feast, Katie. It's a Megan feast.
and
Snowballing.
this is really weird, but it's just like because it's a family thing. We always have cream peas, and I love that.
I thought you were going to say macaroni and cheese.
Oh yeah, and my mac and cheese. But
just-
I would have to make that. I don't trust a house elf to make my recipe.
Whoa.
I was going to say, like, mine are very specific.
I just want exactly what my mom makes every Christmas.
Oh, you miss out on the Hagen feast. My dad makes prime rib every year.
I do love prime rib, and your
love
dad's
prime
cooking
rib.
is great.
This is
but
what I would want.
some
Sorry,
things
Katie,
are just
you can go last.
tradition.
It's okay.
No, but like this is me. Like I would want prime rib because we always have that every year. Mashed potatoes. Oh, mashed potatoes.
I'm so hungry.
Freshly made, not from like a box or anything,
Yeah,
but
who eats
like
that?
with lumps. So good. My
Agreed.
dad's stuffing. I'd even take my grandma's stuffing, but like I'd also have to have my dad's. Sorry, grandma. My grandma or my aunt would always make turnips. Love them. Although I don't actually think they're turnips. I think they just call them that, but they're so good. Green beans. What else would I want?
Turnips that aren't turnips.
No, that's what they call them, but I don't think they're actually
don't
turnips.
know.
I don't know. They're so good. I'm like her and I think the only ones that eat them. What else would I want? That might be it.
All right. Katie?
And I think you guys covered all holiday food.
Right.
Katie wants
know.
all of that because she's a Hufflepuff.
For dessert, I want pumpkin pie.
Mm-hmm.
And
I take a
apple
chocolate.
pie.
Oh,
Yeah.
but like, let's be specific. When you say apple pie, we mean a Dutch apple pie that has the crumbly bits on top. Is
Anything
you're over there
less
shaking
is
your head.
unacceptable.
I mean, it's still good.
No, it's
No, it's not.
unacceptable.
So, fun fact: my dad, growing up, has always made Dutch apple pies. And there's this pie place by us the one time that, and Dutch apple pies, if you don't know, are the ones with the crumble on top, which is just, oh my god, it's
The
so
butter
good.
and the brown sugar
It's
and
so
the
good.
deliciousness.
So he would always like maybe once or twice a year make an apple pie with the crumble top, and it's just so good. And the one time my aunt came over and she had bought this pie from this place, and they have phenomenal pies. And they make an apple pie, and then they make one that they pour caramel on top. And for me, I can't eat it because it's way too sweet. And so we're all sitting there. My dad had made this dinner, and like there's a big group of us, and it's my family and my aunts are over, and like all this stuff, and we're cutting the pie, and I'm like, I just don't like it. I go, Dad, I'm like, I just like yours. Yours is my favorite apple pie. And my dad was like, so close to being like, oh, but this is so much better. He goes, oh, but it's almost as good as mine, which is like one of the best stories. So that's what I want. Probably my dad's apple pie, which we make a pretty good pie too. So
We do.
it's very comparable, but it has to be Dutch. All
Katie?
the foods. She said.
She did.
I said you guys
gave
covered all
desserts.
the holiday foods, so I went for dessert.
Oh, got it.
I'd also want some ice cream.
Okay.
On
Yeah,
top of
also-
the apple pie,
yes.
warmed
No,
up.
I'd like
Apple
it
pie
next
a
to
la
it
mode.
because I don't want my
Well,
ice
yeah,
cream
yeah.
to get melted on my pie. I'm very particular about that.
Yeah.
But it had to be
I agree with
vanilla. Yeah, it gets
It's soggy.
and well, and then it makes my pie cold.
Yes.
And it makes my ice cream warm. I just don't like it.
Any other lightning bolt questions?
I'm out.
What would you do after your feast? Would you go
Sleep.
outside
Sleep.
and have a...
No.
I would go sit by the fire and fall asleep in the big squashy armchair.
I'd want a hot butterbeer.
Oh, are
as
you
I'm
a
sitting in
Gryffindor?
front of the fire.
Yeah, get out of my house.
Oh, that's true. Oh, but
Squashy armchairs and Slytherin and
No, they're probably
no,
not
I feel like they're
squashy.
like super rigid.
tight black leather. Yeah. you fart, you fly up.
Your brain just goes there.
Do they have a fireplace down there?
I'm sure they
Yes.
do. It's cold.
They probably layer up at night, don't they?
Layer up.
Let's go to our fan story.
Yes,
Please
fan
go to our
story.
fan
Let's
story.
finish up this episode
talk
because
about
it is
that.
It's gonna be like
real
2
long.
hours long.
All right, so Beverly Stadelman, she says, I was riding in the car with my friend and her mom to an away hockey game. My friend and I were both reading our separate books, so my friend laughed out loud. I asked her what was so funny, and she handed me her book and pointed out a passage. It was the moment in Chamber of Secrets where Moaning Myrtle is telling Harry about having a book thrown at her head. I thought it was so funny, I immediately asked my mom to buy me all the available books. I have been a fanatic for the series ever since. Slytherin House Pride.
Shout out to Slytherins.
Nice.
Thank you, Beverly.
I'm
Also,
kinda-
yeah, there's so many like hidden funny parts in Harry Potter, you know?
Truthfully.
Can I just say, speaking of funny parts in Harry Potter, Ron is so underrated in the movies because he is so funny
Yeah.
in
So
the
funny,
books.
guys.
Oh my God.
He's amazing.
So great.
He's
Thank you
amazing.
for sharing your story, Beverly.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if we have some new listeners coming in, I don't know. I don't know why you
Message
would
us.
jump in this episode, but don't forget to submit Potter stories. I mean, we still are accepting. Send us your Potter story, your Potter profile, everything. We want to know.
Please also send us funny stories because I love them.
Yeah.
I love a good funny story.
Yeah.
It has to do
Message
with-
us.
with Harry Potter.
I honestly
you can send
love
us a
reading the
random
messages.
one too, but send us a funny Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So make sure that you use our pinned post on Facebook to use for the discussion on this episode. Post your questions and comments, and anybody can respond and answer, and your hosts will respond to you as well, aka us. So go find us on Facebook. That's where we're most active, and like our page to get all the latest info. We're at Swish and Flick Podcast on Facebook or Swish Flick Cast on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Also, go find us and follow us on Patreon. By supporting us on Patreon, it only helps us to be able to provide better content more often. Our first goal with Patreon was to be able to create a website, and we reached it. So
Working
our
hard.
next goal is to get a good camera for vlogging so that we can make you guys how-to videos and DIY videos and all kinds of cool fun stuff related to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Basically,
Because you-
our shenanigans.
Yeah. Behind the scenes.
You guys have no idea.
Our adventures in the world with Harry Potter and doing fun stuff.
Yeah,
So-
get to see all
so-
our faces.
Head on over to
Unfortunately for you.
So head on over to www.patreon.com/swishflickcast and support your favorite Potter podcast.
It better be us.
We are. All right. So that concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just my voice! That could be our outtake is just a bunch of smuggles.
Testing.
No, that could be our testing is smuggles.
Test.
Smuggles.
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 Hashtag
Smuggle.
smuggles.
Hashtag smuggle the smuggle.
Smuggle smugs. Like to
smuggly
smuggles.
smug.
Do you smuggle?
Smuggle the smugs.
I smug real hard.
Smuggles?
Smuggly smug.
Katie?
Smug.
Smug? Smuggle? Smuggle.
Smuggle.
Smug, muggle. Smuggle.